Good morning, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Let's get our heads right on a Tuesday. Should be wet and moist again. I'm over it. Officially over it this year. The weather this year has sucked. I looked at my forecast last night. It's going to piss rain next week also. This sucks.
Yeah, I saw that.
Bro,
I knew it was going to rain this week, and then I looked ahead. What the hell are we doing?
I hate it. I hate it so much. I'm depressed. I feel like Robert Smith from The Cure. Every time I leave my house, another day into the fog. It's just terrible. It's terrible. And if we didn't pay an absolute premium to live here, I'd be like, oh, all right. You get what you pay for. I'm not getting what I paid for at all. But listen, still, even at its worst, still the best place to live in the country. At its absolute worst, you're like, all right, it's still amazing. The people are amazing. The scenery's amazing when it's not covered in rain and fog and soup. But I'm really ready for spring at some point. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's our executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
And Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, is here as well. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning to you. Good morning to the Tier 1s on the radio, on the Odyssey app, and on our YouTube stream where Woodsy, you look like Muggsy Bogues. You're like half as tall as me and Paul there.
What?
Get your camera
Turn
kind
your
of pointed
camera
a little bit more
down.
down so your head can be kind of on the same level as our head.
It looks like it's in the same place as it always is.
Interesting, because you're know what maybe why you look so short on the YouTube stream.
Remember
Just
day one?
tip your camera down just a little bit.
Tip it down.
There you go.
Look at
Good
that.
job.
Oh,
Now
Much
we're
better.
all
Now we're
that's
all
weird.
level.
I
We don't
moved-
look like T-Mobile service bars.
I move it down to go up. Yeah, we were like a ramp. All right, I got it.
Well, it's just your comeuppance for shaming us baseball fans who didn't exactly know what you were talking about yesterday.
Well, I was like, I felt embarrassed for people yesterday.
You did.
I really did. I was
And
like,
then all
I'm
of a sudden, Paul and
embarrassed.
I were like,
Well,
Uh-oh.
I asked you guys. All right. So yesterday, I click on the game, and like the second I tune in, guy delivers the pitch. Fernando just crack, base knock through the left side, knocks in an RB, knocks in a run. So drives in a run, gets a single. So I tweet Fernando Tatis Jr., another knock, and a steak. And so people thought that I misspelled steal, number one. So everyone started writing steak.
Yeah, that's probably what I would have thought.
And I said,
one letter off. He did steal a base, and it's right next to the K and the L.
yep, they're right next
So
to each
yeah,
other.
that makes a lot of sense.
So I go, oh no, a steak is an RBI, and that's what you call an RBI in baseball, a steak. And the people in my timeline were like, "Okay, Boomer, okay," and I'm like, "Boomer, do you guys really not know?" Like, and I felt like embarrassed for them. It's such a common term. Now I didn't play in the big leagues, but if you asked any big leaguer on the planet, hey man, you know what a steak is? You'd be like, yeah, it's an RBI. So when you think about it, it makes perfect sense. RBI, ribeye, ribby, ribeye. What is a ribeye? It's a steak. So like every game I think I ever played since maybe high school, it was I'm gonna get some steaks today. Like every game I think I've ever played.
I've never heard it.
That's amazing.
Now
to me.
I can connect the dots.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean, now that you
steak,
explain
ribeye,
it to me,
ribby, RBI.
Oh, yeah.
I got the lineage there, but I don't think
so
I've
for
ever heard
me,
anyone say that.
I had heard that phrase many times before.
Steak.
A steak is an RBI, but I guess in my mind, maybe I just made it up myself. I thought it was an STAKE,
like
you
steak.
drive a stake into the ground, you
Not
drive a batter in, you put a 1 up on the scoreboard. Like I drove my stake in and I drove a run in, and now there's 1 picket fence up on the scoreboard because I drove the run in. So I always thought it was STAKE, a base hit and a stake, because I drove my stake in, I drove my run in. Your explanation makes 100 times more sense than the one I came up with in my own head, but I never dreamed why STEAK would be an RBI. But now, after
Ribeye.
you say it, ribeye,
Yeah,
steak,
ribeye.
steak. Now I get it.
I was like,
It's like Cockney. That's how they talk in the Cockney accent in England, where they change words like that.
yeah, I mean, it's just a slang. It's just slang. It's like when you say, "Oh, he got a knock." What'd you think he was doing? Knocking on somebody's door? No, he got a base hit. It's a base knock. Like baseball has about a gazillion of these little terms that are out there, and I really assumed everybody knew what a steak was, and like Paulie said,
I know
You
what
can
you
make-
mean.
you
What it
can make the
means.
connection,
I
yeah.
just don't know that I've ever heard anyone refer to it like that.
yeah, it's so in my world, which my world isn't that different from either of your worlds. That's the weird part. Is like we all love baseball, we all watch baseball, we all played baseball at some point. I just it blew me away. So so what I did last night though is I went to some judges because I like to be right. And I reached out to the only big leaguers that would,
Who's saying you're
No one's
wrong?
saying
No,
you're
no.
wrong.
Well,
We're just
people-
we just don't know.
not you guys, all right, but the people on Twitter, the casuals on Twitter, and I reached out to the few big leaguers that I thought would write me back or former big leaguers. So can we guess who they are?
Brian O'Grady.
No, he's actually in Korea, so I didn't bother him. I didn't know what time it was. I was going to but-
Skip Schumacher,
correct.
Matt Strom.
I don't even have Strom's number. We usually message.
He's a
on-
pitcher anyway.
Yeah,
He's
he's a
trying
pitcher.
not to give up.
He doesn't
steaks.
want to serve steaks at all.
He's like, I have that blocked out of my vocabulary.
Brett Boone and
Booney.
Adam Jones.
Yeah.
So I got 2 responses back. I got Booney and I got Skip Schumacher. And both of them said within probably a minute of writing them, Brett Boone wrote back, correct. And Skip Schumacher said, yes, sir. Old school. But yes, maybe I am a boomer because he said
Old
old school.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Raul comments. I haven't heard someone call that since Little League. Steak. Joe says people that never played don't understand.
Thank
Well,
you,
I mean,
Joe. I appreciate you,
I
buddy.
mean, I played for a year. My dad never called it a steak. None of my Little League coaches called it a steak.
Eric says I heard it every game last year and before and over and over. That's the other thing. I've been saying it on this show for 5 years. I mean, easily. It's one of my. Well, the reason I love it so much is number one, driving in a run feels.
I think
I don't
it's
know.
weird. I think it's just weird to me because you don't call it. I understand ribeye. I see the connection,
Right.
but nobody calls it a ribeye. You call it a ribby.
Not necessarily. I don't even call it a ribby. I call it a steak. Get it?
You may have been the first person. Maybe I've known you've said that for a few
Yeah.
years, and maybe
You
I just
thought it was
imagined
a
it was
vampire.
an STA. Yes, a
Yes,
vampire
like
driving
when you
in.
kill a vampire.
Yes,
You take a steak through
right
his
through their
heart.
heart. You kill the pitcher. You drive a
Steak
steak
through
right
his
into
heart.
him.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a lot of imaginaries explanations for
But
what a
it-
steak
It
was
was
in my
one,
head.
it was honestly like one of those moments on Twitter where I was like, am I the moron here? And then I go, no, I feel very convicted in this. So everybody learned something. I'm not trying to disparage
I'm trying to
anyone.
think of like other phrases now that are commonly
I mean,
misused
they're
or
misuse or even, just
not known.
Now I'm wondering that I don't even know which ones are being misused. Which ones am I misusing?
Ben is like, did he hit an actual can of corn into the? Is that a real?
I know
can
that
of corn?
explanation.
I think I've told you this. What my best friend in the world, we used to live together in college. Like I've known this dude 30 years almost, 25 years. And he goes, one day we're like in our early 20s. He goes, I was like, hey, you want to go down to the beach later? And he goes, mine as well. Mine as well. And I go,
Mine,
and I just
what?
looked at him and I go, I grew up with this
Mine as
MFer.
well.
And I go, did you just say mine as well?
Mine as
He
well.
goes, yeah, like we mine as well. And I go,
Wait,
do you
we're
mean
not going mining?
I go,
Yeah, I
"Did-
might as well.
did you mean might as well? And he
does.
just looked at me and goes,
Oh no.
huh.
Well,
Yeah.
I wish my wife
Huh.
would call in. What is the one? Hold on.
Mine as well.
By the way, if you never heard that can of corn explanation, I assume most people have, but when they call a pop fly or an easy fly ball a can of corn, In the old days, grocers would put the canned vegetables on the very highest shelves. They'd wear an apron. They'd have a stick, and when someone wanted one, they'd knock it off and catch it very easily in their big old apron, and hence can of corn catching an easy fly ball. The expression was born.
Josh says, I grew up saying ribeye and steak as well. Ed says, Paul just separated himself from the pack. Steak. What does
I
that
don't know
mean?
what that means.
I don't either. Does he think that I'm Paul?
I don't know.
I just see all the Brandon says all the steak talk is making me hungry. Steak and eggs. EST3 says steak tacos today. We're just making people hungry this morning.
Eric says Mud Grant taught us all that. Yes, I've heard Mud say it a billion times. David says, I also say mine as well. David. Library. That's different.
Yeah.
But like Bo is 5 and he says library. And I'm like, and he also says Valentine's Day, which I think is adorable. Oh, my wife's business partner says, let's play it by year.
Let's play it by year.
Play it by year.
I've heard that.
Not year.
Yeah.
Let's play it by year. She also said one time, give me your stomping orders instead of your marching orders. It's great. It's great. So the English language, especially in baseball, there's so many little phrases in the game of baseball that are unique to baseball, right? For a frozen rope, a piss missile, rope sauce. This is the best part of the game.
I've got a list of, so when you misuse a phrase like that, it's called a malapropism.
A malapropism.
And I've got some famous ones
All
from
right,
like
now I'm too.
athletes
I
and
can't
celebrities.
wait. All right, here we go.
Let's see. Mike Tyson once said, I might just fade off into Bolivian.
Bolivian. Okay.
Let's see. Professional baseball player Mike Smith said he got a new coat. It has lots of installation instead of insulation.
I could do this all day.
Nip it in the bud versus nip it in the butt.
Nip it in the butt.
Oh yeah, there's one. Yeah, instead of bud.
So there's a podcast, and I saw, it's funny that we're bringing this up. There's a podcast on Barstool. I think it's called Mean Girl Pod. This was making the rounds yesterday, and it's 2 women talking, and one of them says, I don't have it. Okay. Do you think dinosaurs were real and existed, or do you think they were methodical?
Not mythological or mythical, but
no.
methodical.
Methodical. Yes, very. They went the same way in and out.
Nice and slowly and carefully. Yeah.
It really took their time. So listen, we all flub. Everybody flubs. You flub, you say, what's mine? Reverberate.
Reverberate? Reverberate is what you said. You said reverberate.
Reverberate.
Yeah.
But it's reverberate. We all do that from time to time. So all of you out there that wanted to rip your old pal Woods yesterday, I mean, it's there.
Let's see. It's a scapegoat, not an escape goat.
An scapegoat?
Yeah.
Don't leave the gate open for the scapegoat.
It's self-deprecating, not self-depreciating.
I've never.
Oh my God! This is one I've been getting wrong.
No.
When someone looks just like someone else, you say they are the
spitting image.
That's what I thought too. It's the spit and image.
BS.
It's the spit and image.
Spit and image.
I had no idea, but that idiom is not spitting image. It's spit and image. Yeah, did anyone know that one? I think we all thought it was spitting image.
Yeah.
Spit.
I didn't even know what it meant, but I just knew that that's what everybody else said.
What's the one we've said on the air before, and I hate it? Every single Sunday, that voice reverberating through my home. Reverberating. What's the one we said on the air? Oh, champing at the bit. I'll never say champing at the bit.
You say chomping at the bit.
That's the only thing in my head that makes sense, right? Man, are you guys excited for opening day? Yeah, dude, I'm chomping at the bit. If somebody said, yeah, I'm champing at the bit, you'd punch them right in the nose. You'd get out of my sight. Champing at the bit.
Joe says when people say I could care less, it's I couldn't
care less.
Care less.
I've been guilty of
I'm sure I have.
I've been really better like the last 5 years. Before that, I was like, I could care less, man. But no, I couldn't care less is how you say it. Man, that's interesting stuff. All right. If you guys have those, you can tweet us at Ben and Woods. Today is National Pie Day, but there's no way to say it. We kind of blew,
we dropped the ball.
That's no.
I know what you were
we
going
didn't bring
for.
a pie.
We like,
yeah.
Oh, we did it. You talked about it yesterday.
Yeah, we kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, we wasted it yesterday on the air because I could have done 20 minutes of pie talk today at some point.
Sorry. Well, I think it's better to do it a day early and get everyone excited about it the next day.
Yes.
I always feel like we're talking about things after the fact too much.
Somebody got very mad at our pie talk
They
yesterday.
did.
Yeah, I sent you that message we got. It's like, hey, 20 minutes of pie talk.
I didn't see that.
Go to our text thread. It was right before the one.
I hope you said, well, you're just lucky it wasn't 40 minutes of pie talk.
I said, first of all,
we could have
You
done
sent
4
it to
hours of
me
pie
and
talk.
me and Ben.
Yeah.
I missed that one too.
First
Wait.
of all, it was only 7 minutes of
Oh, I gotta see
pie
this.
talk.
I'm gonna rip this guy.
We could do an entire week. We could just do pie week on the show if you'd like. Nothing but pie talk the entire 5 days, 20 hours worth of pie.
All I saw. Oh, here it is. All right, you ready for this from Steve? Jeez, I listen and enjoy all the shows on 97.3 except yours. Come on, guys. 20 minutes talking about pies because it's 3.14 Pie Day. People want to hear sports. They can hear that mindless banner on every other morning show in town. Tighten it up. Steve, why don't you suck a
Pie.
pie on National Pie Day? I'm in no mood.
You know what?
Trifled
Steve
with.
will enjoy some of our show today. Jerry Palm, a bracketologist, will help us break down the brackets and make our picks coming up at 7:35. One of the best out there. He's like 1A on the, there's Lunardi, obviously, was kind of the original. Jerry, I would say, is like his biggest rival when it comes to national bracketologists. He does it for CBS Sports. Joe Lunardi does it for ESPN. We're going to have Jerry on at 7:35 this morning. Help everybody, maybe find an upset pick or two and fill out your brackets because that's what you're doing over the next couple of days.
That's exactly right.
We'll check in with Sammy Levitt on what happened in spring training yesterday. Obviously, we'll talk more about the World Baseball Classic. Big day yesterday for a couple of Padres players at the WBC. Just getting started here. Woodsy's got our daily ditty, and it's a theme day on Tuesday since listener Maggie picked one yesterday, so we'll find out what direction we're going. That is coming up next. We are getting started here on Pie Day, 3.14, March 14th. It's Ben and Woods. We'll check our first look at traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
Welcome back, Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. Daily Diddy selection by moi, yours truly. White Stripes, Dead Leaves, and the Dirty Ground. And the reason that I picked this yesterday, there was this, I can't believe you guys didn't see this, but this discourse that happens maybe every 5 years about Meg White, the female drummer for the White Stripes. It was a two-person band. It was Jack White and Meg White. They were married. And they, the press rumor was their brother and sister. They weren't. They were actually married. Jack White took her name, and it was Jack White, Meg White, the White Stripes. So every 5 years or so, now she has faded into a private life. Like, she's out of the White Stripes. Jack's doing his thing. He's got his Third Man Records deal. He's in 15 other bands. But about every 5 years or so, somebody will come on Twitter and decide, I'd like to get my ass kicked today. I'd like to get lit cigarettes put out on my body. And yesterday's victim was a guy named Lachlan Marquet. And Lachlan tweeted, the tragedy of the White Stripes is how great they would have been with a half-decent drummer. Yeah, I've heard all but it's a carefully crafted sound, man. I'm sorry. Meg White was terrible, and no band is better for having SE percussion. Dude, it's every 5 years or so, Meg White, they just come out of the woodwork, and Meg White's like, what did I do? Except for just rock and kick ass and be incredible and like pretty hot doing it and just keep a nasty beat and play with Jack White and play in a two-man band and sell millions of records. So my theme this week, Ben, and it's Women's Appreciation Month. I'm gonna keep it rolling, dude. This is girl power all week.
People do that in sports all the time too. To
do.
sportscasters, like, oh man, I can't stand watching this game with Doris Burke calling it. She's phenomenal,
Right?
She does such a great job, and people lose their mind because she's calling a men's NBA basketball game. She is a really, really great broadcaster.
Well,
Aaron Andrews heard it all the time. I mean,
yes,
she's a terrific
we
sideline
know
reporter.
why. They're
bro.
sad, pathetic
Yeah, you can't.
little boys.
Well, Katie Wu, our beloved Katie Wu, beat writer for the St. Louis Cardinals, the other day, very innocently tweets, she's watching a WBC game, and she goes, oh my God, that last pitch to somebody, it was 102 in on the hand. She goes, that was nasty. 5 seconds later, nasty in quotes, like you've ever batted against him. And it's like, and I wanted to write, you have eyes? You have eyes, right? Then
I'm sure the
the
person who tweeted has batted against him many times.
Right. Yes. What's your AB? What's your average against him? Right. So it's going to be girl power, man. It's going to be women in rock for the next week. Frankly, I could do it the rest.
So
of the
it doesn't
month.
have to necessarily be a female artist.
No, yeah.
But who'd you pick?
Well, I picked Meg White from the White Stripes.
Okay, but
It doesn't have to be an all-female
band.
You don't have to do the
yeah.
Bengals or whatever, but like
Okay.
women in rock. Just women in rock, whether you're a drummer, a bass player, guitar player, singer.
I love the category.
Yeah.
Fantastic theme.
And Meg White, make no mistake, is phenomenal at what she does. Go watch any live video of the White Stripes. And not only is she great, okay, is she Neil Peart or John Bonham? No, she's not like but she holds that beat and she looks really cool doing it, and she never ever makes a mistake. Never. She's like surgical on the drums. So but yeah, this guy ended up going private. He ended up deleting the tweet. He was yesterday's main character on Twitter.
All right, coming up, Woodsy is a little bit worried about the Padres' pitching depth after the news of the last 2 or 3 days, both injury and performance that we've seen. I also have a question for both of you. I don't know if you saw the story from the Players' Championship over the weekend. Jordan Spieth was going to miss the cut.
Yeah, dude.
And he hit a ball that was heading for the water, and it hit off a fan, stayed in play. He ended up making an eagle on the hole, made the cut, had a decent weekend. It didn't win, but certainly made him tens of thousands of dollars because of that fan. And he said, I want to give that guy whatever he wants. And I found out what he actually got from him. And I'm wondering if he asked for enough. Should he have asked for more? What would you guys have asked for if like a PGA Tour player said, yeah, whatever you really want, I want to gift it to you for that, that assist.
I know exactly what
Do
I would
you?
ask for.
Because I've got an idea as well.
Did you see my spicy hot take too on Twitter about a shot clock in golf? I'm down to see the shot clock on the side of the screen for these guys in a big, big way.
Why not? All right, let's talk about it coming up next with Ben Woods. First, though, we've got a giveaway. We got some Darius Rucker tickets to give away today. He's going to be playing Gallagher Square on August 25th. I always say there is no bad show at Gallagher Square.
We're getting like 2 concerts a week.
I know.
I think this one just came out yesterday morning.
It's great, though. Inside Padres season, when they're on the road, you can have a show at Gallagher Square. Tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. on Ticketmaster.com, but win a pair of them right now from Ben and Woods, Darius Rucker, Gallagher Square, August 25th. Be the fourth caller at 833-288-0973. And we'll be back with more Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Shot clock in golf, huh?
Please.
I don't hate that idea. I mean, I think I'd be hypocritical if I said I love the pitch clock in baseball, but no, you couldn't do it to my sport, golf, the one that I play. I don't want to be on a clock. Now, I play fast,
So do I.
I don't think it would affect me as much as some people, and I would love to see the group in front of me on a shot clock sometimes.
Who was the Australian gentleman that was battling for third? I believe he's from Australia.
Trying to think of an Australian that was on the leaderboard in this tournament. Let's see. So Scotty Scheffler obviously won. Tyrrell Hatton was second. Victor Hovland. Cam Davis was way down there. He's Australian.
Not Australian. No, that's not him. Who? I think. All right, give me the top like five.
Scheffler, Hatton, Hovland, Hoagie,
Lee.
Matsuyama.
Lee. Minwoo Lee.
Yeah, he is Australian.
He's Australian. Yeah,
he is.
So he hits his drive on.
His sister Minji is one of the top female players in the world as well.
He hits his drive, and a spectator steps on his ball when it's in the rough. So he gets the free, like, hey, man, just place it. This is generally where it was. First of all, bro, he took about 3 minutes. Did you see this, the last round?
I did not see this one.
So he took about 3 minutes to place his ball. And I mean, he was down there placing. Okay, fine. You want to get a good lie. You kind of got to break there.
I do get when a ruling is involved.
Sure.
You do it the wrong way, you'd be disqualified.
The guy was right there next to him.
They do want to make sure they get it right.
So he was right there next to him. And he goes, place your ball. You can place it anywhere in this general vicinity. And he was like trying to prop it up. And I get it. You got a freebie there. Bro.
Yeah, you want to get it as fluffy and that rough as you can.
My man took about, no BS, probably 90 to 120 seconds to hit a punch out onto the fairway. To just grab a 4-iron and put it on his front foot and just hit it 50 yards in the fairway. And I go, dude, if you're going to hit a punch, that shot takes you 15 seconds. Like, I'm going back out on the fairway. And I mean, listen, somebody tweeted me like, hey, man, this is a difference of like $5 million. I go, I get it. If you're going to try to sneak it through those trees and, fade it into the green, that's one thing. If you're hitting a punch out, you got to have a 30-second.
It's funny, though, because I never complain about how long a golf tournament takes on television.
Yeah, I really don't either.
They almost always wrap up when they're supposed to wrap up. Whatever, 3 o'clock on Sunday is pretty much when they always end. I rarely watch like from shot 1 to shot 72 or whatever at the end of the round. I don't watch for 6 hours. I have it on. It's on in the background. I don't care how long it runs on a PGA Tour event. It's different than a baseball game where I'm sitting down for the first pitch and I'm staying for the entire thing until the end. That one I wanted to keep moving. Golf, they cut between one shot and someone else's shot and someone else's shot. There's not just one activity going on the whole time. So it is a little bit different. But
yeah, it's different because they're going to different guys and putts and chips, and he's in the sand and he's got to take a drop and whatever. But the last round, when they're following, one of the final groups, it's gotten ridiculous. And again, like somebody tweeted in on our or wrote in on our say it, dude, our YouTube feed. Jeter 11 says regular people that practice their golf swing 3 to 4 times. Why? Yeah, he's got to stop. You need to have a marshal out there saying, bro, you're gonna shoot.
Kind of drives me crazy when Jordan Spieth does it.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, he's got that kind of exaggerated practice swing that he's been doing the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Just take away every single time and just mock it up, and it kind of drives me crazy to watch that. But
you're going to shoot a 104 today, which, by the way, I've shot my fair share of 104s, but I don't do it with 4 practice swings. It ain't going to get any better. I'm always afraid of wasting my good swing. That's really why I don't take them, because I'm afraid I'm going to waste.
Good point. It's a good point. Speaking of Jordan, though, so that question, he hit the one off the fan, saved him from a water ball, probably a missed cut, ended up turning into an eagle. Said, yeah, you heard him on the telecast go, yeah, get that guy whatever he wants. So he ended up just getting him. He got tickets for the rest of the weekend and a signed flag, which is cool. But I mean, I'm shooting for the moon at that point. If I'm the fan who saved Jordan Spieth's tournament.
Yeah, you made him. I don't know where he finished, but he made the cut.
Yep.
So he made some money and stayed in the tournament. Didn't have to go home early because the ball hit off your knee.
He finished 6 under. He made $275,000 rather than 0.
Okay, so I'm not going to ask him for money.
No, I wouldn't either. I think that's uncouth.
You guys know what I'm asking him for?
I know what I'm asking him for.
What are you asking him for?
You're committing to the 3rd annual Ben and Woods Open.
Like that's going to happen,
Time.
Paulie. Not Jordan showing up, the actual tournament. But no,
Oh.
I would ask him, you know what I would ask him for? Play around.
That would be cool.
Play around. The guy's a Marine, by the way, a former Marine. So I say, hey man, happy to keep you in the tourney. Where do you live? Oh, you live in Scottsdale? Where do you belong? Oh, you belong to so-and-so? Would love to play around with you sometime.
I'll come to
I'll
you
come to
and
you.
I'll play just one of your regular day practice rounds with you. That's a great one.
That would
Not
be
because it
like-
wouldn't really inconvenience him or take up any of the time that he wasn't going to be out
caddy
there.
for your caddy? Because I wouldn't be able to give you legitimately good advice
yardage.
or anything.
Yeah.
But I just want to hang out with the caddy and you and walk next to you
That'd be
guys.
awesome.
Here's what I would ask for, which also I don't think would be that inconvenient. You know, he is a Masters champion, like really good Masters tickets. I'm sure he can get tickets, like really good Masters tickets. I'm saying you don't have to pay for me to get there or anything. I'll do everything else. Just get me
in the door.
Get me in there and go to the Masters would be really cool.
What would be cooler?
But
Go-
playing would be fun.
Playing around with Jordan Spieth, who seems like a genuinely good guy, would be amazing. And one of his he probably belongs to 5 different
Yeah, in
places.
Texas, in Arizona, and Florida. Yeah. I mean, if you're a PGA
I
Tour
hate
player,
these guys so much.
at most courses, you pretty much have the run of the place. You call up private club, whatever, and they say, "Hey, I'm Jordan Spieth. I'd like to play around at your course." Yet, whenever you'd like, Mr. Spieth. You know,
I'm going to try that.
What tee
At
time would you
Bridges,
like?
I'm going to say, hey, this is I'm Victor Hovland.
Yeah.
I'd like to play around.
You don't look
Show
like
up.
Victor
No,
Hovland.
put on a few pounds. Let's get to
We
Benny,
will. Let's
some
we got to
depth.
check traffic.
Okay.
First this hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Bob's Discount Furniture, home of the world famous Bob-O-Pedic mattresses with all the comfort quality of a national mattress brand for half the price. No matter your budget, there's a Bob-O-Pedic memory foam, hybrid or hybrid plus mattress for you. Check them out at mybobs.com. Yeah, the pitching depth has taken a bit of a hit the last couple of days. Is it something that the Padres should be concerned about? We will talk about that after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the all-new Premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad. Not a bad-looking ride on our freeways at this time. Keep in mind that some road construction has got the right lane blocked on southbound 15 in the North County between Deer Springs and the 78. So if you already passed through that area, you know that by now. But yeah, once you're through Escondido, it's looking pretty good. Premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad with all new 2023 GMC Sierra 1500 elevation package trucks, $4,000 off MSRP, over 15 in stock to choose from. Stop in or shop online at carlsbadbuickgmc.com, a proud member of the Premier Carlsbad family of dealers. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Paulie, we need you to set up a YouTube camera for Kelly so we can see all of her traffic reactions.
That'd be
as
great.
well, that would be really fun. All right, so let's see. Who have the Padres pitching-wise lost? Like, you know, obviously Joe might miss a start, although yesterday threw again, and Bob Melvin was basically amazed at, like, man, this guy has pain tolerance, magical healing abilities. The fact that he's on the mound throwing already gives them at least some hope that he might be ready for opening day. They're still thinking he'll miss a start, but let's throw Joe out of the mix. The actual guys they've lost in the last couple of days. Craig Stammen.
Yep.
You know, not necessarily going to be on the opening day roster or on the team, but a potential depth piece, likely out for the rest of his career, sadly, with a
Yes.
shoulder injury. You had Adrian Morejon. They're
Got
going to have an MRI tomorrow.
Yeah.
They said it wasn't that as sore yesterday, but it's always concerning. Back of the elbow is the last thing you ever want to hear when you talk about a pitcher and an injury. So that one's definitely a possible, blow to the Padres. You had, let's see, you had Julio Teheran pitch yesterday. He looked pretty good until yesterday. Gave up 5 runs in 4 innings. Gives you a little pause about whether or not you want to use a roster spot on a reclamation project like that.
Yeah, he's had such a hot start to camp, but we also sit in here every day and say spring training doesn't matter, and that's fine. It's absolutely fine to continue that. But I think with pitching, your hitting is about timing, pitching is about execution. He was executing his pitches early. Hitters do end up catching up to the pitchers at some point, so that does kind of even out.
But it's kind of, Tim Hill kind of got lit up yesterday. I'm not worried at all about Tim Hill, really.
You're
And
right.
so it's kind of unfair in that way that I give one pitcher a pass for a bad spring training start, but another one who's competing for a roster spot, I go, oh, that's pretty much it. You blew your shot there, Julio. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I don't think by any stretch he's blown his shot. But when I started thinking about it, you go into camp and you go, man, there's 9 or 10 guys that I'm looking at to really round out the depth of this team. And listen, depth isn't only on the big league roster. I'm talking about, AAA and AA as well. And, you may see, I don't know what's going to happen with Cole Hamels, if he's going to go down and accept a AAA assignment. It sounds like he is, I think. These are pieces that you could use down the road.
And when you're making these decisions, this is where things, I think, like spin rate can really come in handy
Right.
to differentiate between the 3 or 4 guys at the end of the roster. All right, the results can be very, very fluctuate in spring training. And what kind of runs were they? Were they bleeders that found the hole?
true.
Were they all rockets? But, one thing that doesn't lie generally, that spin rate, the velocity, the numbers behind the numbers, you can probably do a lot more of that Bob Melvin and Ruben Niebla are going to be looking at when they decide, who are we really going to use a valuable roster spot on?
Yeah, and Julio Teheran was signed to a big league deal, yeah? So
Minor league deal.
Was it minor?
Yeah.
Okay. He, look, he's pitched well enough to be a Pirate at this point, right? Like he's go get an opportunity somewhere, man. He's healthy, it looks like. But just again, you looked at it and you go, man, I'm really encouraged about the depth of this team. And like it happens with every spring training. Brent Honeywell is another one. He pitched yesterday. Now he struck out 7 over 4 innings, Ben. His ERA in the spring, 6.35. He's not had that game yet where you're like, oh yeah, like this guy should be on the squad. I'm rooting for him. I love the guy. He's super nice. Battled some injuries, has really worked hard to get back. But man, this is a different Padres season that we're about to face. So I think the depth has taken a little bit of a knock. Again, injuries you really can't do anything about. That's why you overload it with
Now,
people.
conversely,
We were talking about this before the show. Like, how many of those guys, like Honeywell, Tehran, who's the other one?
Maybe one.
How many of those
that you
were like,
thought-
were you expecting
I
to
mean,
make the roster?
and-
That's
and-
why you give them those minor league deals.
You don't have that many spots. We've talked about that to begin with. Plus, conversely, Drew Pomeranz, the reports have been very good.
Yeah.
He's, I think, going to throw a simulated game on
So
Thursday, and then could even be in a regular Cactus League game this weekend.
When's
He threw
their off
yesterday.
day? Is that today?
Today is the off day.
I thought
Yeah.
it was tomorrow.
It's tomorrow night. He's going to
I
throw
thought
the
it was
sim
tomorrow.
game. Well,
We'll ask Sammy.
I think we're going to see him in a Cactus League game if all goes well this weekend, and that means he could be ready by opening day. Jay Groom has definitely impressed and maybe earned a spot as a flex, long relief spot starter type guy that could make the 26-man roster as well. I think even with the injuries, even with the hit to the depth, you're still going to have tough decisions, which is where
I
you
think
want to
so.
be.
Yeah.
You want your tough decisions to be picking between which I've got 3 good guys who probably all deserve to make the big leagues, but only one of them can make it. The bad teams, their decisions are, I've got 5 bad kind of guys and 2 of them need to make this team. Who are the 2 most palatable options of the 5? The Padres are in a much better situation than that.
Yeah, and again, it's nitpicking because we've got 16 days until opening day. They're going to have to make some cuts. They're going to have to figure it. I got to tell you, man, I was really surprised, and we didn't talk about it last week, but I think it came down on Fridays. Some cuts, or not cuts, but some demotions and whatnot. Michel Baez has been optioned down to, I believe it was AAA. He looked. I can't remember seeing him in a game this spring. Even though I know he threw some innings. God, he looked good. He looked so good when we were down there at camp, and I thought to myself, "Ooh, big old tall righty, just pumping Ched. Middle late innings type guy. Maybe he'll finally figure it out." Morahone. Here we go again with Adrian Morahone. It's tough, man. That class has really. It's yet to bear fruit. That international class that AJ signed years ago. But hey, listen, so far, nobody that you were really counting on to say, man, we really lost a massive piece. This is a depth conversation.
The battle for hitting depth continues pretty strongly. About 4 guys battling for maybe 2 spots at the end of the roster. I would have never considered Tim Lopes to be a candidate to make the major league team when spring training started. Mostly because I didn't know who Tim Lopes was when spring training started. But now I certainly know his name. He's hitting 452 this spring. The
Pretty
question
good.
is that one of those spring mirages, the guys who just happen to hit the hot run at the exact right time? And, once the season starts and they're not playing every day, because obviously he's not going to be starting at shortstop for the San Diego Padres. He'd be a bench piece at best. Is he still going to be that valuable player that he was in the spring? Or do you go with a more veteran guy, a David Dahl, a Rougned Odor, if you need another infielder who's done it on the big league level before, hasn't quite put up the numbers of a Tim Lopes, but did hit a couple of home runs the other day and is showing some signs of pop. Maybe one infielder, one outfielder in the mix for those last couple of bench spots for the Padres.
This kid to make the team would be awesome. I mean, 28 years old, Ben. He's bounced around a ton. Drafted by the Mariners, went to the Blue Jays, second stint with the Mariners, the Brewers, the Rockies, and now ending up here and having a monster spring. So that would be a really, really cool story. But again, it's a great spring story. Can you help this big league roster with championship aspirations? I don't know. Did you figure it out at 28 years old? I mean, you look great in spring, but man, that story, we've seen that story
But even
before.
if you did, one of the things we see are these guys who aren't going to be starters. If even doing it in spring, they're playing every day, they lose it.
Yeah, you lose
You
it.
put them on the back of the roster and say, okay, 6th game of the season, we need you to make a spot start. It's like, well, I had it in spring when you were playing me, 3 out of every 4 days,
Yep.
but now I've sat on the bench for a week. I've lost it. Can they keep doing it? I tend to lean toward the veteran guy who's been there, seen it, which is why I probably would
Odor?
still lean toward Odor for a backup infielder at this point. The guy we thought, why did they sign him? They don't need him. Maybe they do need a Rougned Odor.
It's going to be interesting, man. There's a lot to be interested about when it comes to the construction of this roster. And just remember, just because you set your roster now, it's not set in stone. There's going to be so many moves throughout the course of the season. I like to see a lot of guys, playing well, because again, Taylor Colway's having a really nice spring. Get down there, stay working in the minors, and be ready when your number's called.
All guests on Bennett Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Jerry Palm, bracketologist, to break down the brackets at 7:35. Take on Woods, some WBC talk coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Last hour to get your votes in our tournament of drops. You can go to our Twitter page at Ben and Woods, find the thread. We had our first 8 first-round matchups of our favorite little sound bites accumulated over the last 12 months. We put them into brackets, pairings, and you can vote for the first-round winners right now. There's a couple of ones that are kind of close. Most first-round matchups. I think we've got a couple of lopsided ones as well, but you get to see all the results right as you click on your choices as well. We will give the final results, though, coming up at 8 o'clock this morning.
Right now.
Oh, it is closed already?
Closed it early so that we knew the winners ahead of time.
Okay, so never mind. Just wait until 8 o'clock, and we will drop another set of first-round matchups.
I don't see anything super close here.
Nothing. You weren't going to change anything with your one vote at this point.
No.
Just be ready at 8 then to vote for today's choices that are coming up.
That's exactly right.
In the tournament of drops.
And we'll play those for you.
Also coming up, Take on Woods, chance to qualify for a getaway to Las Vegas. 38 special tickets, 2-night stay at the Westgate. You got to beat or tie Woods in our musical trivia game in about 7-8 minutes. Call us now to get in line, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973.
Wow, you all right?
Yeah, I'm good. It was a big day yesterday at the World Baseball Classic for the Padres. Juan Soto hit a just monster home run for the Dominican Republic. Monster.
Just unreal. Just yacked it out of Manny. Could have had like 3, 4.
He hit 5 balls that totaled, I want to say, I saw someone tweet it was like 1,850 feet. One was a homer, one was a double. The rest of them were either like long flyouts or lineouts, but I mean, he was definitely swinging the bat very well yesterday.
Man, he was locked in and looking for those stakes yesterday.
So the Dominican even their record at 1-1 with a 6-1 win over Nicaragua. Much needed win for them to get back on track. And then last night, you had Team USA just run the score up on Canada. 9 runs in the first inning, 3 runs in the second inning, and that was it. They just kind of cruised the rest of the way. It was suggested, and I think fairly accurately, that Canada kind of punted on that game, knowing that it was the game that they were most likely to lose. They'd won their first one. If they win their other 2, they feel like we can get through at 3-1.
Yep.
Let's not throw any of our better pitchers and just take the L against the United States. So they threw this 19-year-old minor leaguer against a lineup filled with all-stars and MVPs, and the results were fairly predictable. Mike Trout hit a 3-run home run. Trey Turner went deep. It was 12-1 before you knew it, and the game was over. But it doesn't guarantee that the U.S. is going to move through. They're 2-1. They're in first place. They're in better shape now. But they lose their last game tomorrow to Colombia, it definitely could be an elimination time. So if they win, they're through. But if they lose, could be problematic for the United States. So big game tomorrow.
I, as someone whose role was usually in a tournament to go pitch that punt game, my heart broke for that kid, 19 years old. And again, I mean, you can't be expecting much from that dude at all. Just go, hey, man, go out there, do your best. Did you see when they came to get him, Ben, off the mound? I mean, he almost cried. The 19-year-old kid, he almost cried. He had like glove kind of to his face, and everyone was kind of, Freddie was patting him on the back. That was a nice move, but that poor dude, I mean, what are you going to do against that lineup? You're 19 years old. You can't find the zone.
He was fed to the Lions.
It's
not fair.
No, when you do find the zone, they just pound it.
But again, it's an opportunity that I'm sure there's plenty of other Canadians would have given their other arm for a chance to pitch against that loaded lineup.
No question.
Didn't go well for him, but shouldn't affect the rest of his life in a bad way. No. Everyone understands he did his job, what he had to do, had to get out there and give Canada a chance to move on in the next couple of days. The other big story was the
Mitch
perfect
Bratt
game.
Is his name, by the way.
Mitch Bratt. The other story, the perfect game for Team Puerto Rico against Israel, but it wasn't technically a perfect game because of the mercy rule. They only got eight innings and 24 outs.
Yeah.
Felt fairly perfect, though.
Yeah, felt like a very dominant, perfect game.
How would you like to be Israel, though? You just got perfected by Puerto Rico, and now you're going to face the Dominican Republic.
Yeah,
today.
not good.
Not going to get any easier.
Not good at all. That was another dirt nap. The games yesterday were that one, or the only 2 that I saw. I didn't see the other ones, but those were just kind of laughers. Turned the USA game off in like the fourth, and was like, I don't need to watch.
Now,
this
Great
anymore.
Britain won for the first time ever in the World Baseball Classic. They got a victory. But you do, I mean, there's a reason they have mercy rules, because they do expect a couple of these games to get out of hand. These rosters are not even. And sometimes, yes, it's baseball. We talked about how the lesser team will rise up and they will upset the better team in baseball. At the same time, the better team will sometimes absolutely trash the lesser roster, like we saw yesterday for Team USA.
And what's the schedule today? Do we
So
know?
USA has an off day today.
Okay.
I think the first game coming up is at 9 o'clock this morning.
Nicaragua and Venezuela on FS2. Following that on FS2 is Colombia and Canada. And then
That's a big game for both teams.
4 o'clock this afternoon on FS1, Israel and the DR.
That's a disaster potentially.
Yes.
And then Great Britain and Mexico at 7 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah, big. That's also a big game. So those two Pool C games that the U.S.'s pool, they're off today, but both of those games involve teams that I think are all 1-1 right behind the U.S. or maybe one of them's 0-2, but it's
no, everyone in the
it has one win.
Yeah.
Okay.
USA's
One of them's 1-2.
USA's 2-1.
2-1. They're in
Okay.
first place alone now.
Yeah,
all of a
Canada,
sudden.
Colombia, Mexico are all 1-1. Great Britain is 1-2.
1-2. Okay. So yeah, big game. So, but Mexico needs that one. They'll be favored obviously against Great Britain, but Great Britain just won a game, and Canada and Colombia both need that game today.
Italy and Japan have moved on.
Yes.
And Australia and Cuba have moved on. So now we're waiting for the quarterfinal 3, quarterfinal 4 to wrap up. Then we'll get to the semis. Should be fun. Japan and Italy is going to be. I mean, Japan. They're like surgeons. I mean, they look so good. I think they should cruise through that. I think I kind of have an idea. I'm very much in bracket mode right now, so I'm enjoying.
By the way, that first quarterfinal, Australia-Cuba, is late night tonight, 3 a.m.
Is it
from
really?
the Tokyo Dome. Yeah, they're going to play off before they fly to the United States. So that's the one last game in the next 24 hours.
Got it.
All right, we got some callers on the line. It is time to play Take on Woods. All right, we're going with Mark today. Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Good morning, sir. Doing well.
All right, so here's the game. It's musical trivia. You get 5 questions, and then Woodsy comes back in, gets the same 5 questions. If you beat or tie him, you will qualify for our grand prize drawing, and usually there's only, 5 or 6 people who get in over the course of the month to win a 2-night stay at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino, and 2 tickets to see 38 Special on April 28th in the International Theater at the Westgate Las Vegas. To give you a little bit of an advantage, we let you pick the category and keep Woods in the dark. So, Mark, here are your 3 category choices. We still have sitting there Jesus. I like him very much. Musical answers with the name Jesus in them. Disco or boogie, self-explanatory, but 5 song titles that include one of those 2 words, very 70s. And our new category, teeny boppers, 5 song titles that contain the word teen. So of those 3, Jesus, I like him very much. Disco or boogie or teeny boppers, Mark, what would you like to play?
Let's go with disco and boogie.
Disco or boogie?
Baby at that time.
All right, this is good. These are tough ones for Woods because when there's 2, he has trouble discerning the theme, can give the tier 1 an advantage in this game. All right, we're taking you back to the 1970s today on Take on Woods. 5 song titles that include either the word disco or the word boogie. You have 60 seconds. If you don't know an answer, say pass. I'll skip to the next one. We can come back if there's still time on the clock. Our first question is our 2-second song. Paulie's going to play a 70s hit. You need to give me the title and the artist to score that point. So, Mark, you ready to play?
Let's give it a
All
go.
right, 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. The category disco or boogie. Good luck, Mark. Let's take on Woods.
Disco Inferno, the Tramps.
That is correct. You can get down with which Kool and the Gang hit that features a Tarzan yell at the end of the song?
Jungle Boogie.
Correct. Radio DJ Rick Dees had a number one hit in 1976 with which satirical novelty song that mimicked the voice of a Disney character?
Disco Duck.
Correct. Earth, Wind, and Fire teamed up with the vocal group The Emotions for which 1979 hit that won the band a Grammy Award for Best R&B Performance?
Repeat the question.
Earth, Wind, and Fire teamed up with the vocal group The Emotions for which 1979 hit that won the band a Grammy Award for Best R&B Performance?
Boogie Wonderland.
Correct. Which 1975 song by Casey and the Sunshine Band became a hit after it appeared in the movie Saturday Night Fever? Oh, you ran out of time there at the end, but you did get the first four. That last one was Boogie Shoes. I think we got a win coming up here. That's just my prediction.
Too.
Let's bring Woods back in. Stay on the line, Mark. Score is locked in. Woods does not get the category. Tough game today. We're going to reset the song, reset our 60 seconds. Headphones on. All right, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Mark.
Disco Inferno. I'll come back to it.
You can Get Down with which Kool and the Gang hit that features a Tarzan yell at the end of the song?
Pass. God.
Radio DJ Rick Dees had a number one hit in 1976 with which satirical novelty
Disco
song?
Duck.
Correct. Earth, Wind, and Fire teamed up with the vocal group The Emotions for which 1979 hit that won the band a Grammy Award for Best R&B Performance?
Disco. Pass.
Which 1975 song by Casey and the Sunshine Band became a hit after it appeared in the movie Saturday Night Fever?
God, the disco sucks. That's not the answer. Disco Fever.
Incorrect. Go back to our
I think
2-second
it's-
song. See if you can get the band.
Burn, baby, burn. Disco Inferno. Burn.
Oh, you are screwed.
You can get down
That
with
sucks.
1 point, and that is a 4-1 win for Mark today. One of our biggest lopsided listener victories of all time.
You've seen my.
It was
kryptonite
tricky because the category was disco or boogie.
now. Oh, you
So
bastard!
you got Disco Inferno. It's the Tramps.
Oh, I would never.
Jungle Boogie is Get Down, Get Down. You got Disco Duck, Boogie Wonderland by Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Boogie Shoes by Casey and the Sunshine Band. Tough category today, and Mark knocked it out of the park, and he is now qualified for our trip to Vegas. Mark, hang on the line. Paulie will get all your info during the break. Good job, man. Very good today. And, you get
Not
a
me,
Daily
yeah.
Ditty selection for tomorrow as well, if you'd like it.
Tell him to stay on theme though. Girl power.
Yeah, Girl Power
Girl
for the
Power.
Daily Ditty. That's
Yeah.
fine, because it's a good theme that you picked this week.
Yeah, disco's horrible. That's horrible.
I've got
I'm not even embarrassed to get my ass.
I
kicked
knew.
at that.
I predicted once Mark got 4 out of 5. I said I think he's got this.
That's
one.
a win.
I
That's
think
a
he's
dub.
got this
He
one
could have gotten
today.
2 and not crushed me.
You know, strategically, also those categories that are one or the other, much harder for you because it's harder to discern the
You're like
category while you're going.
disco, and then you're
But
like,
when
wait,
it's
there's
all
no
of a sudden
disco in
it's
this
there's no
one.
disco.
all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I am looking. My do this today comes from the World Baseball Classic. Just a great story that we did not touch on a moment ago.
100%.
But we will
One of the
definitely
best.
get to that coming up next on Don't and Do This after a check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan. Here's a little do this. Do sign up for the Ben & Woods Open 1 week from tomorrow. Slots go on sale on Wednesday, March 22nd. Our tournament is on Thursday, April 6th at Rancho Bernardo Inn.
Oh, boy.
Got great, fun stuff planned again. We learned a little bit from the first one. Hopefully this one will be even better. Thank you to our sponsors, Maestro Dobel Tequila, Bushmills Irish Whiskey, helping you bring the Ben & Woods Open to RBN on April 6th.
It's going to be such a fun day, man. It's going to be a long
Golf
day.
clap? Are we going to put golf shot clocks on people during the
I think we absolutely
tournament? I kind of like
should.
that idea.
Yeah.
Especially in a scramble.
I mean,
No reason for practice swings in a scramble.
let's go 30.
Your shot doesn't even matter that much.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go.
30 seconds.
The fastest full round scramble in the history of tournament golf.
So into it.
Under 4 hours.
Yep. So
No
into
chance. Never happened. All right. I will start us with don't do this. Definitely a story that makes you shudder if you're a radio host, a sports radio host. ESPN Syracuse host Brett Axe got the axe
I was waiting for it. Stupid.
from Galaxy Media Partners. So they are the broadcast rights holders for Syracuse University.
Wow.
Football,
More Syracuse news.
basketball, etc. Just like we're the rights holders for the Padres.
Yep.
But apparently, Axe was just a little bit too hard on the hometown team, and his bosses said, "You know what? Just too negative. You're fired." That is a tough one, because I feel like your job as a host is to give your honest opinions, and if your honest opinion is one that you don't think the program's doing something right, you don't think you're doing it well. Are you just supposed to? Does anyone want their host to just lie and say everything is fine when things aren't fine? Everything is happy in Syracuse world.
Hold on.
Clearly, they had a
That's-
terrible basketball season.
They did. They had a horrible season, but this is the thing that we always run up against, I think, right? Well, you got some quotes from
Well,
him,
yeah.
right?
So
All right.
his boss, Ed Levine, or Levine, I have no idea, the CEO, he didn't mince his words. He said, "I had a problem with the content of the show. I am an SU fan. I'm sorry, but I bleed orange. I'm not going to apologize for that, and I think a fair reading of the orange is appropriate. I understand we have a business relationship with Syracuse. Coach Boeheim and I are personal friends, and he's an investor in my company.
Oh,
I understand and acknowledge all of that. We called it pretty fair, and I would argue that we've been tough on SU when the on-field or off-field events warrant it. I just think over the past 6 months, it took a different tone, became overly dark and negative. I don't think that's what Syracuse fans want to hear." So he admitted it. I mean, he didn't try to blame anything else. He just said, "I just think you're too hard on our team and my friend, Coach Boeheim."
that's interesting. That changes it a little bit. But we run into this, me more than you. What was my kind of mantra last season for the San Diego Padres was, doesn't matter. Just win today and we'll worry about it tomorrow. Like,
Bless the mood.
Yeah, bless the mood.
One game at a time.
Enjoy the ride.
Right.
Right? These are all
Are
mantras.
you ready to bless the mood?
But I would get a few times a year, you don't quote, tell it like it is. You're a cheerleader. It's an honest assessment from me every day, because I truly believed in my heart that this was a good team. I believed that they hadn't played their best baseball yet. Even when Jace Tingler told me in the midst of a collapse, we haven't played our best, I still believed in the team. I will never lie to you. I will never tell you the sky's blue when it's not. It's how I genuinely feel. And so you do
I remember those comments from Tingler. It seemed like once or twice a week.
Yeah.
That, hey, this team still hasn't played their best
And you
baseball.
would
And you were
say,
like, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
I just feel like I don't want to hear that, but he's not wrong.
Correct. And so you do run into it. Now, I also hear hosts that are like, for example, there's nothing to pick on the Padres for right now. Nothing. There's nothing to hold their feet to the fire for. In fact, we should be rubbing their feet with oils and creams right now.
Is that the opposite of holding them to the
Yes.
fine? Oils and creams.
Oils and creams. Come on in. I'll rub your feet down. You deserve it right now. Now, you go out and rip off 17 losses in a row. I'm not going to come in here more than likely and say, no, we're fine. Now, if it happens in April, though, I'll be like, guys, we still have 150 games. Like, it's no big deal. it's concerning.
I mean,
and
what's
we'll
the reason for it? We'll have
Yeah.
to try to get down
Of
to it. But so
course.
here's what Axe had to say, quote, I had a responsibility to give an honest, fair, and thorough opinion to my audience. I certainly wasn't perfect, but I don't regret anything about the approach of the show. We put listeners on the air. We gave them the opportunity to say what they needed to say. I don't have any regrets.
Okay. Well, I mean, listen, I think this is a case where I kind of side with the host.
I think this is where the whole Jim Boeheim sports radio rant that we talked about last week probably comes from this guy's show, it sounds like.
The funny thing too is, and we'll get it this season, is, well, you guys can't really say how you feel because you're the flagship. It's never mattered. Never one time. In all the years we've been doing
I've
this,
never been told anything I couldn't say about the team.
One thing.
Oh, yeah, one thing.
And if I told you what it was, it's so benign. It's so innocuous. It has nothing to do with the play on the field or the players at all. It has to do with equipment. That was the only thing ever. In our 5 years together next week, the only thing.
It was like,
hey, man,
wait, really?
avoid that. And
that's what's off limits?
And I go, okay, I wouldn't have brought it up if you gave me 100 questions. So just
credit to the Padres for avoiding that temptation of
100%.
Trying to be heavy-handed
and to manipulate the
other teams will do it, especially with their broadcast partners. They will say, okay, don't ask him about this, don't ask him about that, don't do this, none of that.
100%. I have taken it upon myself to do any Charger related story because frankly Ben can't handle it. He gets too giddy. He gets too excited. I'm very impartial when it comes to the NFL and the Chargers. I don't have that feeling of being betrayed and everything that you do.
My Brent axe to grind.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you have you definitely have an axe to grind. So I did see this yesterday, and I saw it, and it was one of those tweets that I went, oh no, how do you F this up if you're the LA Chargers? Chargers running back Austin Eckler requesting permission to speak with other teams about a potential trade after preliminary talks with the team aimed at a contract extension did not progress. He had the second most touchdowns in football last year, Ben. He is as good as Justin Herbert is. Going to be interesting to see Justin Herbert without Austin Eckler, if it in fact happens. Now,
it hasn't happened yet.
No, it hasn't. But it could be a nice strategy from Austin Eckler's camp to say, those talks sucked and you weren't even close. Trade us.
I also know the Chargers aren't in the best of salary cap positions and will have to extend Justin Herbert gigantically soon. I realize in football you can't do everything you want to do. We just saw the Rams have to trade Jalen Ramsey to get under the cap. So these things do happen. I will say, though, there is probably, outside of Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler is probably the second most popular Charger. He's just very appealing.
Bro, you don't even like the Chargers and you like
If
Austin
they were
Eckler.
still here, Austin Eckler would be a massive star in this town. I've said it before. Austin Eckler is a nobody in Los Angeles. Austin Eckler would own San Diego if the Chargers were still here. He'd have been everybody's favorite player for the last 6 years.
Guy is a absolute.
There'd be Eckler jerseys everywhere. It would be like LT's jerseys. It would be like Gates jerseys. There would be Eckler jerseys all over the place.
He is a stallion.
Yeah.
He is a stallion. And you cannot let that stallion leave the stable for other pastures.
Be a bad look.
It's a terrible and look at the smile on his face. You can see it on the YouTube stream. Very, very.
Smirk.
What's the word I'm looking for? You're very blithe about it. You're very, oh yeah.
Sorry about it. Very sorry.
Look at that face.
Very sorry to hear it.
That's why I do these stories.
I love this this story from the World Baseball Classic. Obviously, Nicaragua lost to the Dominican Republic 6-1, but the story of their 21-year-old right-hander Duque Hebert, who came into the game and struck out Juan Soto, Julio Rodriguez, gave up a double to Manny, of course, but then struck out Rafael Devers.
Unreal.
And immediately there was a Detroit Tigers scout. This is genius. He was at the game. He goes, I'm not waiting around for anyone else to get their hooks in him. Signed him on the spot to a minor league contract. I guess he was a guy who wasn't on the radar until he comes out and gets some swing and misses. He got swings and misses from Soto, Rodriguez, and Devers. That's not easy to do. And he struck out all three of them, and they said, that's good enough for us. No tryout.
That's unreal.
We don't need to meet with you. He asked a few questions about his background, and that's it. We're signing you right now, Duque. You're a part of the Tigers organization.
Badass. How old is he?
21.
21 years
Yeah.
old. When
I mean, 5 years of internet. No one signed him.
Nobody signed
Could have had
him.
him at age 16. No one signed him. They took the WBC. I mean, his numbers, he doesn't throw 100. Wasn't off the chart, but he had a good enough deception and movement that he got 3 of the best hitters in the world.
That's unreal.
Just swing and miss and strike out. So that's good enough for the Detroit Tigers. Probably where a couple of other teams were going, hey guys, you got to go a little faster. The Tigers just jumped in front of the line.
There's probably some texts from some GMs around the country to their scouts that were there. And it's like, how'd you brick on that? Were you not watching the same game I was? Yeah, it's a really, really good story. Good for him. Did you see the picture with him and Soto after the game?
Oh,
too?
did he take one?
Took
No.
a picture with Soto. It's awesome. Awesome. Good for him.
I can't think Juan Soto loved that photo.
He was
but
grinning from ear to
was
ear.
he good?
You think Soto
I
cares?
guess they won the game.
You think Soto gives a
But he
rat's
struck
ass?
out
He's
against
like,
a 21-year-old nobody from Nicaragua.
whatever, who just got a deal. That's really cool.
And that is don't and do this for a Tuesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, let's fill out our brackets together with some help. Jerry Palm, CBS Sports bracketologist, joins us next on 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan brought to you by Bob's Discount Furniture, home of the world-famous Bob-O-Pedic mattresses with all the comfort and quality of a national mattress brand for half the price. No matter your budget, there is a Bob-O-Pedic memory foam hybrid or hybrid plus mattress for you. Check him out at mybobs.com. Got Jerry Palm, famed bracketologist from CBS Sports, joining us after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto Family, here's Kelly Danick.
Folks are doing a good job of staying out of trouble on our freeways this morning. We do have reports of some debris in the fast lane on northbound side of the 15, right around the 78. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Let's go out to our premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline, one of the busiest men in America. Glad he's got a few minutes for us this morning. Jerry Palm from CBS Sports, bracketologist, joins us here on Ben & Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Jerry, thank you very much. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How's it going?
I'm
It's
good.
going well.
How do you do this? Because obviously you do the same interview. Okay, people want to know about their town's team, so we're going to ask you about the
Right.
Aztecs,
Yep.
and then they want to know which upset picks to make, and then they want to know
Yep.
who's going to win the whole thing and get to the Final Four. You just got to do the same interview over and over again.
Well, the hometown team isn't always the
That's
same.
true.
But
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so you and most bracketologists I saw had the Aztecs as a 6 seed. They ended up getting a 5 seed, a little bit better. I mean, they had the good metrics numbers. What was your kind of evaluation of where they are and their matchup against Charleston in the first round?
Yeah, I had no trouble with them as a 5. They were pretty much on the border for me between 5 and 6. So there's really no issue with them as a 5. It's I think it's a fair seed. And Charleston is a team that won a ton of games this year. They're 30-3. They've got a non-division win in there too, so you might see them at 31-3. But it's funny because they'd beaten Kent State at home. They had another win at home over a similar team. Their only quad 1 opponent was North Carolina at North Carolina, and they lost by 18. So they haven't seen teams the caliber of San Diego State much this year. In fact, not at all, really. So it'll be interesting to see what they bring. Obviously, they feel like they have a lot to prove. They're going to be highly motivated. They feel somewhat disrespected this year because nobody really viewed them as an at-large candidate despite that many wins. But, that's teams like that always feel like they have something to prove. So San Diego State had better lace up and be ready because they're going to come after them.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, Jerry, because my co-host here tried his best yesterday to calm everyone down. All the Aztecs fans that have been upset about the draw, traveling across the country to take on a really good shooting team that's white hot right now with 10 in a row. But he made the point of, well, we're 9-1 in our last 10, and they've never seen a defense this season like what the Aztecs are going to roll out there. He's pretty confident the Aztecs will not only win this game, but cover the 4.5 points.
Well, I like San Diego State to win this game and the next one. So I'm with him there. But, you better show up ready because, those teams like Charleston you're going to get their best effort. And they haven't seen a team like San Diego State this year, not just defensively, just the quality of San Diego State. They haven't seen a team the quality of San Diego State at all this season. And, but yeah, I mean, San Diego State's going to have to go hard. They're going to have to earn this. When you're a 5 seed, you don't really get much in terms of geographic preference. You're stuck with whatever options the 4s have. You go into the bracket in order, and I don't know exactly which 5 seed, in order of the 5 San Diego State was, but geographic preference, you're going to probably travel cross country unless you get lucky. But the 4s this year, I'm pretty sure we're all east or southeast.
Yeah,
And,
I think they were the 17, so they're the first 5 seed playing the last 4 seed, potentially Virginia. In the second round, we got Jerry Palm, CBS Sports bracketologist with us. I wanted to ask you, Jerry, how do you fill out like your personal bracket? Do you just go matchup by matchup, or is there ever like a theme or a strategy? For me, I try to pick a conference I think is going to do really well. I never picked the right conference, but like last year it was the ACC. Usually there's one conference that seems to do really well, and if you could pick the right one, to me, sometimes that's a way to do well. But do you have any strategies when you fill out your bracket?
It's funny. Well, you said the ACC last year. I mean, they were miserable in the regular season,
Right.
but actually did well in the tournament.
I didn't pick them last year. I
I-
promise you.
My strategy is to check out the games and see each matchup, and I just kind of go through who do I think would win. I certainly don't do conferences or anything like that because I just think that teams are teams. Once you get to the NCAA tournament, you're not a conference anymore. You're a team, and you have to. Each team has their own strengths and weaknesses, and that's I just go by the matchups.
All right. Well, this year, people are saying a little more parity. There's no, standout teams. The Blue Bloods weren't quite as blue as they usually are. Does that mean that you might foresee more upsets in this tournament than most?
You could, yeah. I certainly agree. Most of the time, I mean, the thing that was different about the bracket this year, trying to put together a bracket, is that there was no dominant, one or two teams where you can just pencil them into the Sweet 16 or maybe even Elite Eight, because the talent will overwhelm in the tournament. But nobody's got the talent that overwhelms in the tournament. The teams at the top are great teams, and you've got each of the number one seeds has got an All-American and a guy that's going to play at the next level, with the exception of Zach Edey at Purdue, only because they don't use guys like him at the next level. But he'll be the player of the year in college basketball. So, those are great teams, but there are matchup problems for each of them. And that's not always the case early in the tournament for these teams. So it is going to be a little more wide open than usual.
Talking to our pal Jerry Palm here on Ben and Woods this morning. Give us, if you could, the way my partner Ben will pick games. He picks a conference that he likes and thinks they'll do well. I pretty much just throw darts at the board. Usually end up with a lot of chalk in mine. Not nearly as polished as the two of you guys as it pertains to college basketball, but I love the tournament. Give us a couple of teams that you look at and go, man, sneaky under the radar. The Loyola from a few years ago, maybe even the Aztecs. You got winning a couple games, but any of those that you look at and you look at and say, "Ooh, man, people are sleeping on this team, and I really like them."
Yeah, I actually do have San Diego State winning a couple of games and getting a shot at Alabama, and I don't like them against Alabama just because of Brandon Miller. I mean, that San Diego State doesn't have a guy as good as their defense is probably to guard Brandon Miller. He's just a different problem for a lot of teams, and that's partly why they're the overall number one. But I would be interested. That game would interest me because I would like to see San Diego State's defense, with the challenge of Alabama, to see what they can do with it. For some of the lower seeds, I had 3 pegged before I even saw a bracket. 3 teams I was going to pick to win at least one game before I ever saw a bracket, and so I picked them. Drake out of the Missouri Valley, get the Miami team that's dinged up. That's a really good matchup for them. Drake has Tucker DeVries, who's a player who could play for Miami. He's a good enough player to play at a high major school, but he's playing for his dad at Drake. And they're a very solid, well-coached team with a guy that can play against some of the opponents they have. I like VCU as well out of the Atlantic 10. That's a team that might have been an at-large candidate had they been healthy for the non-conference portion of their schedule when they can resume build. Didn't get a chance really to do that this year. Dominated the second half of the A-10. Ended up winning the league by 3 games and then the conference tournament. They're always a very good defensive team. They call their defense havoc. And I think they can create some havoc with the draw they got. I got them winning 1. They could win 2. I have them losing to UConn because I think UConn's size is a problem for them. And then the other one I was going to pick no matter what was Oral Roberts. They drew Duke. That their size could be a problem for Oral Roberts, but Oral Roberts, you may remember, was in the Sweet 16 2 years ago during the pandemic tournament. At that time, they had the nation's leading scorer in Max Asmith. Well, he's still there, and a couple other guys are still there. So this is a team that already knows that they can win in the NCAA tournament, and because they've done it. So that makes them dangerous.
And lastly, Jerry, your overall champion, because it's required that I ask.
Yeah, Alabama.
Alabama.
I like Alabama's draw through their region. And I think I just think they'll actually finish the job this year. I always hesitate to pick the overall number one, but
I don't,
especially because they're not overwhelming number one. But I think Alabama is going to get through.
Jerry, good stuff. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
All right, thanks.
All right, Jerry Palm, bracketologist for CBS Sports on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. I think people will be cheering against Alabama. I mean, for a number of reasons. First of all, what's been going on off the court with their team. Also because it's Alabama and just the football program's greatness.
Yes.
I mean, no one wants to see them great in
No.
basketball now as well.
It's like you got yours. You're
It was
good.
like a few years ago
You
they
get one-
started to rise
Yeah,
as
You
a
get one
program,
sport,
and you're
yeah.
like,
No.
It's almost unappealing if you're good.
they
at
have
both
a
sports.
basketball team. What?
It's like, what if Duke had like a top football team?
You're like, this is BS.
Duke
Even
makes it
more.
to the college football playoffs.
It's
Ugh.
You know,
BS.
that's Ohio State. They're usually
Yeah.
but they weren't that great in basketball this year. They missed the tournament.
Michigan
so.
State always a solid
Yeah, in
football
both, for
program, and
sure.
good basketball team.
San Diego State always likes to tout theirs, but football's not quite there yet.
No.
Although I would like to see the dynamics of that Alabama athletic department when Nick Saban is no longer the king of the hill. Like, oh, when's your last national championship, Nick? Because our basketball team just won one. So I don't know. That could be kind of humorous if Alabama does go all the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have them, and I have two brackets. One I picked out myself yesterday, and the other one I let my 5-year-old pick last night. And he's got an interesting take. So if you have a pen and paper
Okay.
ready, here's first round matchups.
Are we going to do all of them from Bo here?
Yeah, how long did you get it down to?
We got
Let's do
about
it.
2.5 minutes.
I mean, why
Okay,
not?
We got time.
I'm
Yeah.
curious.
All right, so bracket challenge. Are you ready?
Yes.
Alabama or Texas AMCC?
Corpus Christi.
Texas.
Okay, really?
Shock. Jerry just said
Sure.
Alabama's winning the
Yeah.
whole thing.
That's the number one overall
Yeah,
seed.
they're out
Yeah,
already.
they're out.
One pick, and he's got the number one overall seed out.
Really?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
Yeah, he knows.
He's positive.
Yes. Maryland or West Virginia?
Maryland.
Oh,
San Diego State or Charleston?
San Diego State.
That's my guy.
Virginia or Furman?
Fulham.
Pullman.
Creighton or NC State?
Clayton.
wait.
Baylor or UCSB?
Baylor.
Missouri or Utah State?
Utah State.
He says it better than you do.
Arizona or Princeton?
Arizona.
Wow. Okay. Let's go. Purdue or Texas Southern?
Texas Southern.
Another one.
You
seed
love the
out.
16.
Okay.
You love the 16s. Wow. Okay. Memphis or FAU?
FAU.
Okay.
Duke or Oral Roberts?
Duke.
Why does he laugh at Oral Roberts?
I don't know.
Is it genetic? That's something that you pass along to him? That sense of humor that it's just innate somehow in the Woods clan that made him laugh?
Duke or Oral Roberts?
Duke.
Oh, it's incredible.
Tennessee or Louisiana?
Louisiana.
Kentucky or Providence?
Kentucky.
Kansas State or Montana?
Kansas State.
Michigan or USC?
Michigan.
Michigan.
Michigan State, sorry.
Michigan State.
Marquette or Vermont?
Vermont.
Wow. UCLA or UNC Asheville?
UNCL.
UNCL. Right. Boise State or Northwestern?
Boise State.
Grand Canyon or
West?
Gonzaga?
Grand Canyon.
Oh, poor Zach.
ASU or TCU?
TCU.
Oh, Texas.
Iona or UConn?
UConn.
Just picking the second team every time.
I think so. VCU or St. Mary's?
VCU.
First team. Yeah.
Illinois or Arkansas?
Illinois.
First team.
Howard or Kansas?
Howard.
Oh, there was another one seed out.
16 is what?
Is that Howard
What?
the Duck? It was Howard.
What?
Nothing. You're doing great. Okay, and last one. Houston or Northern Kentucky?
Northern
Another.
Kentucky.
There's all one seed.
What?
Iowa or Auburn?
Auburn.
Miami or Drake?
Drake.
Jerry Palm agrees. Indiana or Kent State?
Indiana.
Iowa State or Mississippi? Iowa State or Mississippi State?
Mississippi State.
This says it better than you do.
Xavier or Kennesaw?
Kennesaw.
A&M or Penn State?
Another Texas.
Texas or Colgate?
Texas.
Texas, obviously.
All right, there's your first round picks.
Yep, done.
I think he chose every Texas school, even the ones you didn't say Texas.
except for
A&M, Baylor, TCU. He took all of them.
there was one in there he didn't.
He didn't take one because he took A&M Corpus Christi. He took Texas. I mean,
All right. So his final four, by the way, is SDSU against K-State.
Hell yeah.
And then in the other division, Texas against UNC Asheville. He really likes them. And he's got SDSU taking it all.
all right.
So there you go.
Well, someone's got some faith in the Aztecs.
Does he beat me in points?
God,
The
it
16s and
seems
ones,
like
you
it's
know?
going to be hard to with
Does he pick
4
every
16
16 seed?
seeds
I think so.
picked over the 1 seeds.
I think so.
Because that could potentially, if just one seed goes deep in the tournament,
He's either going to win the $1 billion.
Yeah, I mean, he's either going to have
Or
the
have the
best
worst
bracket in
bracket.
the country or the worst.
It's
If
just-
there's this much parity in college basketball, maybe this is the year we see multiple 1 seeds go down in the first round. And then Bo Woods will be America's leading bracketology expert.
So the funny thing is I told him, because he goes, why were you laughing when I made picks? I go, well, you picked like the top team against one of the worst teams, but they're still pretty good because they're in the tournament. And he got a little bit upset at me. And I go, buddy, here's what you're not understanding. I know as much as you know about college basketball. Literally, I know, we know the same. And I'm 47 and you're 5. We know the same about college basketball, bud. And he's like, okay. He was like, he goes, Mom, Dad, I said I sucked. And I go, I never said you sucked. I just said you picked a lot of upsets. He said, what's an upset? And I'm like, I don't know. So I had to break it down again. And I said, bud,
Does he think like when he hears upset, like you're upset
I'm
with him?
upset. And I go, dude, you literally know as much as I do. If I was sick, Bo could come in and do as well at college basketball talk as I can, as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how his bracket shakes out. So
I mean,
did.
maybe better. He knows how to say both Utah and Mississippi.
That's true. That is true. He's the cutest kid, man. I was so so fun to do that, and he's just so sure about so many. Auburn, Furman, Bo. Who was the worst juror, or who was the worst witness at the OJ trial?
Furman.
Furman.
Well, your kids may not function on demand unless they're
Mine
Bo, and
do.
they do. 97.3 The Fan will. Download, subscribe to our show, the Coach, Gwynn and Chris podcast on the free Odyssey app. Wherever you get your podcast, 2 hours down, 2 hours to go. We've got some more Padres talk. Sammy Spring Training going to join us. Much more ahead on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Oh, Tournament of Drops next, too.
Big one. All right, my friends, we are halfway home on a Tuesday, March 14th. It is National Pie Day, and we did our pie talk yesterday, certainly on the show. Today's also National Potato Chip Day, by the way. Big fan.
Ruffled or like thin?
Either.
Or
You know, the
kettle cooked?
The one I don't like is kettle. Not a kettle cooked chip fan at all. And I don't like baked Lays. Give me a break.
That's not a potato chip.
Yeah, no, it's not. But kettle chips are too hard for me, and they cut my roof of my mouth.
I can see that. If
You know?
if they're overcooked, they can get a kind of a burned taste to them
I mean,
as well.
I'll eat them. I'll eat them in a pinch. Like if my wife went and got a sandwich and brought me home kettle chips, I wouldn't say anything, but I'd eat them. But I don't prefer them. I prefer a thin Lay's type chip or even a ruffled type chip.
Like
as
Pringles are a controversial subject.
Well. They are.
I don't
love
think they're not really a chip. They're like a saddle formed potato, like crunchy snack food.
Skin. I don't like them as much as I used to, Paulie. When I was a little kid, I was a big Pringles guy. Not so much now.
I don't really go out of my way to get them,
Yes,
but
exactly.
I
Oh, I'll eat 'em.
certainly
Oh, come on.
won't turn them away.
If you had a can of sour cream and onion Pringles, I'm taking a stack.
They're hard
And
to resist.
Have you ever bitten right into the stack? It's incredibly messy.
No, I don't like to do that. It's very, very messy.
You pop one at a time.
I know they suggest like mixing flavors to come with your own flavor combination. Not going to do that.
Well, they want you to buy more cans. It's actually genius. Hey, try 4 or 5.
All right, flavor wise.
Oh man,
Barbecue.
Salt and
barbecue.
vinegar is
Salt and
my
vinegar's
go-to.
bomb.
Yeah.
Salt and vinegar Lays are elite.
Before salt and vinegar was invented. See, now we grew up in an era where
Yeah.
salt and vinegar wasn't a thing.
It's true.
I liked the cheddar and sour cream.
They're unbelievable.
Ruffles. That was
Unbelievable.
my go-to flavor.
Yeah.
Doritos, I love.
I don't like the barbecue Lays. Too sweet.
love
too
barbecue Lays.
smoky
Oh,
sweet. I'm not a big fan.
All dressed Ruffles. Have you had those?
No, I don't think so.
They're called all dressed. They're Canadian, and they love the all dressed up there, and they sell them here. But it's like there's a little bottle of ketchup on it, like ketchup. It's almost ketchup and onion, I think, is the flavor. They're unbelievable. They're unbelievable chips. But I love chips. It's part of my I can't eat a sandwich without them. Right?
Do you put the chips on the sandwich
have.
or on the side? I like putting them right on top. Like
Do
I
ya?
get a Jersey
Every
Mike's.
once in a while.
Salt
Yeah.
and vinegar chips,
I'll
and
mix
I
it
will
up.
just smash them right underneath the bun to get a
Little
little
crunch.
crunch.
Yeah, I'll mix it up. I'll certainly will mix it up. Now I'm starving and want chips. I don't like red Doritos as much as I used to either. The nacho cheese.
You know that those aren't potato chips; those are
No,
corn,
chips.
chips.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge Doritos fan at all.
You don't like Cool
I-
Ranch?
I like-
Oh, you don't
no.
like ranch.
No,
Oh.
I like corn chips. I like tortilla chips, but I tend to go with the unflavored ones. Just the,
Now that guy on
I like to
Face-
dip in things though, salsas,
Yeah, of course.
hummuses, different.
What are the
dips.
I can't remember the name of them. The Doritos are the purple bag. They're like the
Spicy
sweet
nacho.
chili.
or
No.
sweet chili. Yeah, those are
Oh
good.
my God, those are good.
I used to like the plain Doritos, corn chips.
I do like Funky Fusion, which is the mixture of I think it's barbecue and salt and pepper or
Oh,
salt and vinegar.
Sounds amazing.
is a pretty good one. Those are the kettle ones, I think though. Miss Vicky's maybe.
I want chips now.
Yeah, chips sound good.
Lots of
Pie
chi-
and chips.
Pie and chips is a pretty
Another healthy eating day for the Ben and Woods program.
elite combo. I'll have a banana.
It's just
instead.
there's rarely National Steamed Broccoli Day.
Yeah.
It's just the junk foods tend to get more exposure on their national days.
I wish that chips were healthier. I eat sun
Kale
chips.
chips.
I eat sun chips to feel healthy.
sun chips are not
Garden
healthy.
salsa.
Garden salsa sun
Sun
They're
chips
still
is my
not healthy.
favorite.
They're good, but they're not healthy.
They're not healthy.
Don't fool yourself.
It's got
into
whole
thinking
grain in it.
Sun
It
chips
sucks
are
because
healthy.
I want to find like a healthy chip would
I
be
can-
amazing. You know what I
they
mean?
have
Like,
them and
They
they're
do.
made out of
They have-
cauliflower
they have
and
them.
rice.
They
no,
taste
a good
horrible.
tasting,
It's
a
just-
good tasting healthy chip because isn't there nothing better if you're craving a snack that crunchy? You just want the crunchy.
I often
chip.
lament that, biology, evolution has designed us all to really crave the foods that we don't love. I mean, just some simple rewiring in our
Yes.
brain that could make broccoli and spinach like the most
So
delicious
good.
things in the
Decadent.
world, just unbelievable. Like we couldn't get enough of them. And like, I could, pie, I could do without that.
Yeah.
It's too sweet. It's too rich for me. Give me all the healthy foods, the kales and the lean proteins,
Seaweed.
and just love them so much. I just can't get enough of them.
No, it sucks.
But that's not how we're wired.
Nope.
Because cavemen needed to eat like as much as they could because they didn't know when they'd ever eat again.
Correct.
So the highest fat content, whatever, that's what satisfied them the most. And now we're still living like
Paying
cavemen.
the price.
Yeah, we are.
Unfortunately. That's that's our revolution in biology coming up.
That guy on Facebook's going to be very mad with this segment. Very mad. He yelled at us yesterday.
Oh, it's only 6 minutes.
6
so if we
minutes.
stop now, we're okay.
Okay.
Because we need to get to the tournament of drops anyway. Much more sports talk right now.
Yes, totally.
So it is our fourth annual. What year are we
Fourth
on?
annual.
Fourth annual tournament of drops. And yesterday we revealed the matchups for the first round on the left side of the bracket, the Paul and Ben regions. And we can now reveal the results of those matchups before we get into our second half of the bracket. So, Paulie, who are our winners?
All right, starting in the Ben region, the number 1 overall seed, Carving Guy took down Ben, saying big dumper.
Have you tried the lasagna? It's my favorite.
No surprise there.
None.
Yep, the 4-5 matchup saw Don Orsillo losing. Don Orsillo saying, I love Ben and Woods. He lost to Juan Soto.
Good morning, everybody.
The 4
Sneaky.
seed.
A recent but good addition. It's in the open of our show now.
Yep.
Steve Ballmer was the 6 seed. He lost to the 3 seed right here.
Good. It's flapping. There it is. Any of these close? Let's see. 60,
Not
77, 83, 68%,
Not really.
78%. No, not really.
And then the final matchup in the Ben region, Ben saying come Fernando, the 7 seed. That lost to the 2 seed, another Carving Guy draw.
Do you like hot fudge sundaes?
67.9% of the vote there.
Then we go down to the Paul region, the number 1 seed there. Took down the KUSI.
You wanted this to be
wrapping-
100% to
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
It was not.
It was
It
not.
was 81.1% to 18.9%.
Did you catch the game last night?
Yeah, trolls. We're voting for that's what's in.
We did have a 5 over a 4.
Minor upset.
Minor upset. Matthew McConaughey was the 4 seed singing Bless the Mood, and he lost to the 5 seed.
Hold on. Remix.
Odds makers may have even had that 5 seed as a slight favorite. That happens sometimes. Blake Snell, very popular
Very
when it comes
popular.
to drops, and
Yep.
he won with 66.4% of the vote.
Now a 6 over a 3, I would say that is our first
Yes.
legitimate upset. The 3 seed was caller Dave. That was good, and he lost to Manny Machado.
Look at Nelly Cruz.
That surprises me.
Look at Nelly Cruz.
Look at Nelly Cruz.
59.9, closest matchup
that's
of
the
the first
closest
round
one.
so far.
This is a tough draw for our beloved Mudcat. Mark Grant, the 7 seed, saying suck it, fell to Ben with just maybe the strongest 2 seed in the tournament.
Where are these cream pies coming from?
Hmm.
62.3% for cream pies takes it and advances to the second round, which is also the Sweet 16 in our tournament because we only have 32 in our field. All right, so those are the winners from day one. Now it is time to move over to the right side of the bracket, the Woods and Adam regions of our tournament of drops. And Paulie, give us our matchups that'll be going up on Twitter post haste.
So we start in the Woods region, the number 1 seed there.
Can I get a oh yeah?
Oh, so cute.
So great.
And he is going up. Bo and Taylor are going up against the 8 seed, Dave Roberts, and his infamous prediction last year.
We are winning the World Series in 2022.
Because even I, as much as I love my kids, I want to vote for that one because I love that drop so much. Play it again, Paulie. I love it so much.
We are winning the World Series in 2022.
How'd that work out?
You love it now.
How'd you guys?
They didn't win the World
How'd you guys
Series.
do?
They lost to the Padres
Oh, they
in the
did?
divisional round of the playoffs in 4 games.
One game.
I don't even have to look that up. I know that off the top of my head.
They won 1
Yeah,
game.
3 games to 1 was the
It's-
series.
From my experience
Series
as
total.
a longtime baseball fan,
We are winning the World Series in 2022.
it is hard to win the World Series when you only win 1 game in the playoffs. It's impossible, actually.
It really is, unless they change the format.
Unless they
Never
change
been
the
done
rule.
before.
It's
Just a
never been
one
done.
and done.
One
you know.
and
It used to
done.
be you go right to the World Series if you won your league.
Yeah,
but I still think you had to win more than 1 game
I
once you
think
got
so.
We are
It's
winning
like
the World
best of
Series
9
in 2022.
there.
I think it was like 8,
They are
which
11.
doesn't make any
I think-
sense. I swear to God, it was an
It's
even
the-
number. You're like, what if it's 4-4?
I mean, it took a while to figure out how series would work. Let's do an 8-game series.
Remember we tried to qualify
What
it, like,
happens-
if there's a season,
If
we're
there's
gonna win
season,
it.
we're winning.
Whoever wins 5 first wins. Well, what happens if they both win 4? We'll cross that bridge when we come
Let's
to
not worry. If it's not broken, then don't.
it. And then
fix
next
it
year,
yet.
someone said, "Hey guys, if we make it an odd number, there's
7.
no chance of it ending in a tie
I
at
feel
the
like
end."
I would make it 8, and Ben would be like, "Hey, dummy,
Just so you
just
know.
make it 7 or 9, either or." Yeah, vote for Bowen Taylor.
All right, we got the 4-5 matchup. Your 4 seed.
So, sports.
Not new, but new to us this year.
Yeah,
from
that was,
your old show.
My first show, my first day doing sports ever. Haven't sports haven't improved
For
much.
that guy who said he doesn't want to hear pie talk, so sports. There it
There you
is.
go. And that's going up against the 5 seed. Probably the mantra of the 2022 season. Jorge Alfaro.
Go San Diego.
I'm gonna get bodied by that one.
It's gonna be a tough one.
Possibly, yeah.
That could be a 5 over.
I think the
a
fact
4.
that Jorge is now gone may cost him some votes. If he was still on the Padres, tough to vote against him.
True.
our 6th seed in the Woods region, one of our callers,
Bob Millen.
Bob Mellon.
Bob Mellon.
Amazing.
Bob Mellon.
We don't have too many caller flubs, but that one was so good.
That was on the voicemail line. She was very inebriated the night before, if I
That's
do
right.
recall.
Bob
It
Mellon.
was one of my favorite calls ever, and she said Bob Mellon.
Bob Millen.
Bob Mellon.
Bob Mellon, the 6th seed going up against the 3 seed in the Woods region, Jerry Jones.
There it was. Glory hole.
I mean, that's just unreal. There it was, glory hole. He's saying to reporters. That's not hidden audio of him talking to his buddy.
Right.
There it was, glory hole.
Nobody planted a microphone.
Does he know what a glory hole is?
Are you playing that game with
I
him
think
that you play
I would
with
guess
me?
Jerry Jones does.
Fair. Probably has one in his office. Literally, when he says, "Yeah, walk in my office," there it is. There it was. Glory hole.
And wrapping up the Woods region, we have the 7 seed, the Island Boys.
Oh, yeah, the Padres won.
Makes me die.
And they are going up against the 2 seed, another carving guy.
Is it still hot out there?
Amazing.
We move on to the Adam region. Any guesses on what the number 1 seed
Yeah,
there
was
could
it
possibly
Extra
Gotta be.
sweet.
Is it extra sweet because it's against the Dodgers?
Still funny.
It's still incredible.
He's going up against
You're
the 8
screaming,
seed.
Adam. You're screaming
Peter Seiler, you're just
at Peter
screaming
Seiler.
at it.
Is it extra sweet because it's against the Dodgers?
It was one of the
Get a
best.
mask
It
on.
was
I get
one
it,
of the
but-
best days of my life. The next day when we found it, it was one of the best days of my life.
And that could probably be the biggest margin of victory because it's going up against the 8 seed, a team that just snuck into the tournament, won their conference, or however they got in.
Yep.
Boomer Esiason, his raspy voice during I think it was during a Sports Minute
Yep,
update.
I
I
think
go,
so.
come back with that.
Rams.
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 Well, they're both kind of raspy, it's
Yeah.
just in their own ways.
Rams.
Rams.
That's a good one.
We don't
too.
play that enough.
Our 4 seed in the Adam region is Hacksaw.
Finally, the chance for somebody to get on and do some good sports talk radio.
He's going up against the 5 seed, Jesse Agler.
The series is over.
Love
Ah,
it.
such a great moment.
Such a great moment.
That 5 seed, that could make a run.
Yeah.
I think. We'll move on to 6 versus the 3 seed. We've got a Ben drop for the 6 seed.
I didn't even get a free meatball out of the deal.
And he's going up against Carving Guy in the 3 seed.
All right.
All right.
I'm even more bitter now that I know I've sent dozens of people
Yes,
to that
God.
restaurant in Glendale for meatballs. And I didn't even get a comped meatball.
Yeah.
I didn't even get a free meatball out of the deal. What is it going up against again?
All right.
All right.
And then wrapping things up here in the Adam region, our 7 versus 2 matchup. The 7 seed, Padres president of baseball operations, AJ Preller.
Morning, guys.
Morning, guys.
Good morning, guys. And he is going up against.
It's a good drop for a morning show.
Oh yeah.
Okay, how are you?
Oh, love that one. That was a coach caller, right?
I believe so.
Yep.
That was not the first time he said it either.
Correct.
7th time.
Yeah.
Outstanding. All right, so that's the right side of our bracket.
Polls are up when, Paulie?
Now,
right now.
this moment,
Yes.
we can start our voting at the Ben and Woods Twitter page. By this time
Joe
tomorrow,
in San Diego, thanks for hanging in there, my
Just
friend.
before
Welcome to
full clip.
97.3 The Fan. How are you today?
Okay, how are you?
I'm doing well. You want to come out and give blood today, Joe?
Okay, how are you?
Oh my God.
Doing great.
Hello. Okay, how are you?
I forgot how good that is. Holy S word. That is
Oh.
amazing. Okay, how are you? Joe, you there? Okay, how are you?
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh. We're all going to get old at some point. I
Yeah.
just hope that when I'm 94, I'm not calling into a sports talk radio.
I think
show.
if there's one of us that will be doing it,
Right
it's
there.
you. It
Joe
is-
in San Diego,
Ben in San
thanks for
Diego.
hanging in there, my friend. Welcome to
Coach is still on
97.3
the
The
air.
Fan.
Hi,
How are
Ben.
you today?
Okay, how are you?
I'm great, Ben.
I'm doing well. You want to come out and give blood today, Joe?
Okay, how are you?
What is that?
I'm doing great.
Hello. Okay, how are you?
Oh my God. It's like a recording got stuck.
You keep thinking maybe I'm not on the air and I
Hello?
need to
No,
say it.
because you
Yeah.
would say,
Oh my
hello,
God.
hello, are you there? You wouldn't say, okay, how are you? 3 times. It's amazing.
All
go
right,
vote.
get your votes in. We will come back. Tier 1 tour, looking at every team, every Padres opponent in order. This one will be taking us to the Cleveland Guardians. Interleague opponent, Cactus League opponent. Take a look at the Guardians. Had a good season, playoff season last year. Coming up next after a check of traffic with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, we fire up the truck, the bus, and we continue on the Tier 1 tour of spring training camps. I feel like we're closing halfway, maybe just past halfway, somewhere around the midpoint, because there's only 2 weeks and 2 days, 16 days until opening day. So, we're getting close. We don't have 16 shows because of the weekend, so we should be more than halfway by now.
Yeah.
Is that fair? Paulie's looking at me like he doesn't
Yeah,
really know. He's not keeping track.
We're kind of doing it a little bit differently this year.
It's not like we're taking them off. So
I'm gonna wait until
it'll just be done one day.
We've already done that
we're
team.
done.
Oh, we've already done that team. I think we've done them all.
I think we've done them. At some point, we will hit every Padres opponent. They play all 29 other teams, including the Cleveland Guardians. Like, is this a June series or something like that?
Yeah, mid-June.
Mid-June series against the Guardians, a team that won their division last year, went to the playoffs, and should have some playoff aspirations again this year, Woods. Now, the first things first. I think I've finally gotten used to saying Guardians.
I'll say Indians at least twice in the upcoming season.
But
I mean,
less
no
than you
harm.
did last year.
Yeah. Last year I was terrible. I don't think I ever said Guardians once.
Let's start with the lineup. They've got a good, fun lineup. It's not necessarily superstar loaded outside of Jose Ramirez, but they hit for average. They hit for contact. They command the strike zone well. Kind of a lot of good things about the players in the Cleveland Guardians lineup.
They are the definition of a I hate this word. It's overused, but it's scrappy. Scrappy lineup.
Sure.
They're going. Oh God, Jace Tingler Jr. over here. They're going to battle in the box. All of them. I mean, I honestly, like, Josh Bell may be Josh Naylor, kind of a bit free swinging. The rest of the guys though are pretty solid, man. You got Steven Kwan at the top, who's a really, really good young hitter. Ahmed Rosario playing short. Jose Ramirez is a superstar. I mean, he is asses in the seats. Yes. Jose Ramirez is playing. I'm buying a ticket. I want to go watch that man play third base and go watch him hit tanks. Josh Bell was a nice pickup for them. He's going to DH for them and probably spell Naylor.
Assuming they
get
get more Nationals Josh Bell than Padres Josh Bell.
You got, as I mentioned, Josh Naylor. Out the bottom of the lineup's a little tough.
Oscar Gonzalez had a great postseason, and he showed flashes. Which Oscar Gonzalez will we see this year? I don't know, but they're hoping for a big season from him.
But as usual, where they make their money in Cleveland, my friends, is with their starting rotation. And, there's a lot to, if you look back at all the moves that AJ Preller's made, I think the Clevenger deal probably is the one that stings the most. You look at it and you see Cal Quantrill, who has emerged, Benny. He's probably their third starter. He would still, he'd look really good in the Padres uniform. And it had to pay that price at the time to get what you thought was going to be, a really, really great pitcher in Mike Clevenger. Did not work out that way, but the top two in their lineup, their order, Tristan McKenzie and of course Shane Bieber, are phenomenal. They've got a Emmanuel Clase, former Padre prospect as well, one of the most electric pitchers in baseball. They're a pretty fun team, man. They're a fun team because they play the game really, really hard.
Now they may have dipped too deep in trading away some of their rotation depth. They are counting on Cal Quantrill and Zach Plesac, who could be really good. They're contact guys though, so I feel like you get more fluctuation season to season. Sometimes sometimes they'll have a good year and balls find gloves and they have a 3.5 ERA and 15 wins, and other years not quite as much, and the ERA is 4.5 and they go 8 and 14. I mean, I could see it going either way for a guy like Quantrill this coming season.
Some of the projections that I saw regarding the Guardians this year have them at the one I saw was 87.5, so 87.5 wins. And the article that I read said I'd take the over on that. They usually win about 90 games. And again, you don't know how they're going to start. You don't know what they're going to do at the deadline. They do have some prospects that they could move if they found themselves in it. Their division's gotten a little bit tougher.
Yeah, I was going to go under just because the Twins, I like their moves, and the White Sox at some point you feel like they're going to have a good year as well.
I mean, at some point they have to. They're the Angels. It's like at some point
the Tigers were stepping up at the end of the year last year a little bit.
I'm not super sold on the Tigers, but I think the Guardians can make the playoffs. I do think they'll win over.
You got a really good defense too, which almost never talk about, but they overall should have a very good defense on that team as well. So Yeah, I think they set the number pretty well. That's a tough one.
It
One
is.
of
It's
those
a tough one to call.
to go either way. It should be right around that number. You'd think really, really close to 87.
Yeah, I just but Minnesota getting Carlos Correa back, and again by our buddy John down the hall is a massive Twins fan, and he was listening to some sports radio in Minnesota. Apparently, Carlos Correa, who already played with a big, massive chip on his shoulder, is really pissed.
The chip is bigger.
The chip is bigger. It's a bigger chip.
Is it a potato chip?
It's bigger than a potato.
What kind of chip is a chip on a shoulder? Is it a cow chip? Is it a potato chip?
Yeah, what is it? Where does that come from?
I don't really know. That's an expression.
Why would, if somebody put a chip on my shoulder, why would that make me play harder?
I'm just angry about something because
you have a chip on your shoulder?
A chip on my shoulder.
Yeah, I don't get it. We should look that up.
Is it like a champion chip?
No. Nope.
Chip witch? Those are good.
Those are good.
Those are really good.
But no, I think
chocolate chip.
Carlos Correa is, if he's healthy, and by all accounts, Ben, he's pretty, there's a fire lit under him. I mean, the weirdest offseason in baseball history, to be sure. So, I mean, guy, 3 teams. Very few guys sign with 3 teams in an offseason. So, very high profile player as well. So we'll see, man. They're going to be an interesting team to watch as well. But that division, it's going to be those 3 battling it out.
I looked it up, and it makes even less sense at this point. A chip on your shoulder is a metaphor, which means you are habitually negative, combative, or have a hostile attitude, usually because of deep resentment or long-held grievance. Okay, I knew that. The term chip on your shoulder seems to have first been used to describe the Royal Navy dockyard's shipwrights' entitlement to offcuts of timber. At the end of the day, the shipwrights took home these chips on their shoulders. Still don't really get it. They like to take home the extra wood on their shoulders. They're kind of angry about it, so they had their chips of wood on their shoulders that they took home.
Do you know where mind your P's and Q's
It led to
comes
fights
from?
concerning the size of the chips on their shoulders.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you know where P's and mind your
P's and Q's?
You know what that stands for?
P's and Q's. I actually don't think I do.
So you're going out tonight, Ben. Mind your P's and Q's. Don't let yourself
overdrink.
get a little. Don't over imbibe.
See, now, it was always used by parents as
Yeah.
a reminder to be polite,
Correct.
and respectful.
You don't drink when you're 12.
No, you don't.
Yeah, most people
when
don't.
you tell your kids to mind their P's and Q's,
Don't
now
worry, I'm not drinking.
all
tonight.
of that makes
Mom
no
and Dad.
sense at all.
Mind your P's and Q's.
And that's our Tier 1 tour and a little idiom talk as well on Ben and Woods. All right, we'll come back. There was some football news. I think Aaron Rodgers would be a great kidnapper because he loves holding us all hostage all the time. As football fans, as Green Bay Packers, as New York Jets, whatever. But there was certainly a lot of hubbub yesterday. We'll get to that. Some more Padres talk as well ahead with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by. Oh, wait. I'm worried. Sometimes I worry you're trying to fake me out. Hint water. Hint is pure water infused with surprisingly true fruit flavors, including watermelon, blackberry, and cherry.
Got
no
you.
sugar,
Got
no
you again,
sweeteners,
idiot.
no
There's no
calories.
cherry water.
Idiot.
Available in your local grocery store or at drinkhint.com.
Can't
Hint,
believe you said it.
I can't
water
believe
with
you
a
did it.
touch of fruit flavor. I guess that's real.
Do you not get it?
Hint water. I just, sometimes
You don't even realize
I
what you
didn't even
said.
realize what you said.
hint water.
Say it 3 times fast.
Hint water. Hint water. Hint water.
That's real. Sorry.
You see why I get nervous now, though, when I see something I've never
Water.
seen. It just sounded suspicious to me.
It's always dicey when a new one pops
It
up.
is very dicey. You
Very
guys have made me
dicey.
gun shy on some of these reads.
Nah, you're fine.
The Bob's mattress thing freaked me out a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Bobopedic. No, I guess it's real. All right. There was a lot of quarterbacking news in particular as NFL free agency gets underway this week. We'll get to that right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto Family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Viejas Casino and Resort. Plenty of trouble spots on our roads. Hit and run crash on northbound 5 just past Grand Garnet, not showing if lanes are blocked. Also, eastbound side of the 84 Taylor Street, a collision over the right shoulder. Northbound side of the 805 near Sweetwater, there is a collision over the right shoulder. Car and Big Rig involved. Up ahead, another accident involving a car and a Big Rig. This one is near the King Freeway. They're over to the right shoulder. Traveling on the South 5 coastline, accident before Carlsbad Village Drive. It's over the right shoulder in the clearing stage. Then up ahead before Manchester, accident blocking the 2 left lanes. The daily jackpot at Viejas Casino and Resort are on fire. Players have hit huge wins with bets as low as 50 cents. Check out their jackpot winning smiles on the Viejas Facebook page. Want to join them? Who knows? The next jackpot winner could be you. Viejas Casino and Resort. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So it wasn't until yesterday at like noon that players and agents were allowed to even begin negotiations with teams. Yet somehow, within a couple of hours, there's been like dozens of reported multi-year, complicated, multi-million-dollar contracts have already been agreed to. So somehow they get these done very, very quickly, or there's been some under-the-table negotiations going on before they were supposed to in the NFL.
Well, that, and Paulie made a great point going to break, and I was going to bring this up today too. It's also the time of year in NFL free agency where you go,
We've got NFL Network on one of the TVs, and I don't even remember the name. Jawan Taylor, maybe. It was a tackle for the Chiefs. He just signed a 4-year, $90 million deal, and I go, I've never heard of him.
Yeah, offensive linemen are always the guys.
I get it.
You don't
very, very valuable.
massively
I could
valuable.
do a real or fake on Thursday.
Yeah, you could.
Draymond Jones, $51 million to the Seahawks. Real or fake?
I mean, where did Draymond Jones come from? I like the NFL a lot. I watch a lot of NFL football. Clearly,
defensive lineman, by the way, formerly of the Broncos, now of the Seahawks.
Clearly, I'm not watching intently. Clearly, I'm not looking at the,
You're not watching the trenches.
No, I'm not watching the trenches, but I'm also not watching, I'm not watching like at the beginning of the season, the rosters and seeing who's where.
Kind of remember Tremaine Edmonds from the Bills. He agreed to a 4-year, $72 million deal with the Bears. Wow. It's a ton of money right there.
Let's see. Here's another one. Raiders add wide receiver Jacoby Myers. I've heard of Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, I have heard it. Wide receivers. See, they're more famous.
What team did he come from, though? Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby Myers is now on the Raiders.
Yep.
And he was on the Jags.
Patriots.
Patriots.
Dummy. God.
Yeah.
So, sports.
But then the minor quarterback news, you know everything about. Like Sam Darnold signs a backup deal for 1 season with the San Francisco 49ers.
Jimmy G is off to the Raiders.
Yeah. Yep. Now, with the 49ers, you wonder whether their backup quarterback will be their quarterback in the Super Bowl or something because, well, they had Mr. Irrelevant quarterbacking them in the Super Bowl this year. So who knows what opportunities await Sam Darnold in San Francisco behind Trey Lance and Brock Purdy.
Yep.
Jimmy Garoppolo, I guess it makes sense. You know, he knows the Josh McDaniels system from his time in New England.
Correct.
I don't necessarily think Jimmy Garoppolo is an upgrade over Derek Carr, who they unceremoniously, got rid of and is now with the New Orleans Saints. So, and then of course there's the drama involving Aaron Rodgers. I didn't even get this. So Trey Wingo, former ESPN anchor Trey Wingo, tweeted out that one of those kind of he's hearing sort of things, that it's a done deal between the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, and the trade is going to happen and he's going to be a Jet. But then there was a lot of counter reports saying, no, it's not a done deal. Nothing's official. And then Trey kind of, well, I didn't say it was totally,
He said it was done.
He said it was kind of done though. So I'm a little confused as to where we are.
I believe his tweet said it's done.
It's done, but it's not done.
He said, hearing Rodgers to the Jets is done.
Hearing it.
History about to repeat itself between New York and Green Bay. Time is indeed a flat circle. Obviously referencing Brett Favre.
Going to the Jets, yes. Right. But ultimately, it's kind of up to Aaron Rodgers. The Packers have made it known that if he wants to be traded, they will trade him, probably happily at this point, and move on to Jordan Love.
Okay.
The Jets would have to pay him a boatload of money. Are they that close that Aaron Rodgers lifts them over the top to make them into a Super Bowl contender?
It's not going to hurt him.
I mean, if he's still MVP Aaron Rodgers, which you're just not sure of. We thought last year
AFC's pretty top heavy, right? Like
Chiefs aren't going anywhere. Bills, Bengals.
It's like, it's the Chiefs
not going anywhere.
And then there's a step down. I'd say the Bengals, the Bills.
Yep.
Maybe he puts them into that conversation.
The question is, we thought Aaron Rodgers
had a good year last year.
Yeah, we thought maybe Aaron Rodgers had fallen off
a
cliff at some point last year. And then we found out, well, he was playing less than healthy. And once he got healthier at the end of the year, he looked more like Aaron Rodgers.
So they're going to bring over also, Adam Schefter reports they're going to bring over Alan Lazard, who he's very familiar with. Also, Packers veteran Randall Cobb looks to be garnering some interest from the Jets as well. So he's basically bringing his buddies with him out to New York.
Is that a good thing?
Guys he's comfortable with at least. So I don't know. Be interesting to see.
The NFL is a game more than any other, though, that it doesn't have room for sentimentality.
No.
Or, hanging with your guys too long. I mean, look, Bill Belichick had a lot of success by cutting guys or trading them 1 year early rather than 1 year late.
Yep.
You hold on to teammates too long, and it is the recipe for a quick decline in the NFL. So that I would be wary if I were a Jets fan about Aaron Rodgers.
But if you're a Jets fan, this is the greatest thing to happen to you since probably Brett Favre came over. I mean, this wasn't
that great of a thing.
Yeah, no, exactly. But you were that day.
Yes, that day was very
excited about it. And I think if you're a Jet fan, this is something to be excited about. Mike Greenberg, Greeny, formerly of ESPN fame, has said, is he still on ESPN? Does he still do that show, Get Up?
He does, yeah. He still does Get Up.
He said he would cut off a toe for Aaron Rodgers. That's how much he's the world's biggest Jet fan. And he said, I will cut off my pinky toe for Aaron Rodgers. So I don't know if he actually put that down on paper, like he's going to have to pay that bet off. But he said, that's how bad I want him. I don't need it. Take it. And give me Aaron
I don't
Rodgers.
need him to actually follow through.
No,
it's okay
to
exaggerate and make a point about your desire for something by promising something somewhat ridiculous, but then not actually following through with it.
Say, if Peter Seidler resigns Juan Soto, no, I can't say that. You should say, oh my God, I want Peter to resign Juan Soto so bad I'd cut off a toe. And then if he does it, you're like, yeah, but I didn't say it.
It's like when Mark Grant said, if the Padres come back to win this game, I'll walk to Petco Park from Alpine.
But he did.
And then he did. He did do it.
I said, if they hit a grand slam tonight, I'll wear a diaper for the entirety of
for
the
a
show.
Fourth straight game.
And they did it.
No chance that would happen.
Freaking Haas got me.
Hosmer hit the grand slam.
And I had to do a whole show in the freezing cold Corona cave in a diaper, an adult male diaper.
Yeah, you think it's cold in here. The Corona cave in winter.
Bitter.
Was cold.
Yeah.
It wasn't even winter. It was summer.
Was it summer? Oh, yeah. It was
baseball.
Summer. San Diego. Jesus, you're right. My God. Felt like winter. Yeah, in a diaper.
You had a blanket though.
So that's what that's what he says. So I don't know. The Aaron Rodgers drama is I'm already over. Let me know when he signs. How about that?
How about the news from the New York Post? It's looking more and more like when opening day rolls around and we turn on the television to find the Padres, we're not going to find them on Bally Sports San Diego anymore. It's not official, but according to the New York Post and other reports, with the impending bankruptcy for Diamond Sports, which is the Bally Sports San Diego parent company.
Supposed to file on Friday, I do believe.
The 17th,
Happy
St. Patrick's Day,
everyone.
The Padres are one of 4 teams at least that the Post is hearing that they are not going to be able to make their payments to the teams, thus voiding their rights contracts with those teams. They claim that, the Padres are not a moneymaker for Bally Sports, which kind of tells me what kind of horrible deal did you sign? Because the Padres, you couldn't get much more interest, but it also does tell you that the Padres, for all the things that all the critics have said about, hey, the San Diego is not a great, huge media market. You're not going to be able to make up this money you're spending on payroll in television rights is probably true. I mean, you look at Bally Sports and you go, hey, they're losing truckloads of money on the Padres, despite the fact that ratings were through the roof last year and everybody was interested in the Padres. It tells you there is a cap, a pretty, significantly lower cap on what, Peter Seidler and the Padres can make on their TV deal, which there may not be a TV deal anymore. Major League Baseball is planning to take over the production of those games. And the question is, how are we going to get them? Sounds like you're going to be able to subscribe, to a streaming service, but will you be able to still turn on your TV on opening day and every other day that follows and find the Padres on a channel? Or is that not going to be an option this year? Which, I think most of us would figure it out. We need to watch the Padres bad enough that we'll take the time to finally figure out how to stream something from a computer or a phone to our television.
It'd be MLB running the show, right?
It would be.
It would be probably MLB TV.
It would probably be, but
they can't block those out, right?
Right.
In San Diego.
And a lot of baseball fans
is it free?
Are older, and
No.
and if you already subscribe to cable, are you going to get it somewhere? If you've been paying, I pay a bunch in cable so I can get the Padres. If they're no longer on there, what do you do? Do you have to spend on something else to get the Padres? You can cancel your cable, but you also have other channels you probably watch on cable. Are you going to be spending more?
A lot of the streaming
overall?
services come included if you pay for cable. Like you can log into Hulu or HBO Max with your cable provider
my Cox
credentials.
login.
Yes, and get it. So will that work for say MLB TV?
I mean, there's still questions. Obviously, they will figure out a way to make sure Padres games and other teams games that were with Bally they'll be findable some way.
So I have to now,
but we don't know exactly where or how yet.
Let's break this down. All right, I pay $258 a month for cable. Every time it's debited from my account, I want to flip my desk over. But I do it because I'm a boomer and I like things easy. I also subscribe to MLB TV because I love baseball and I want to watch.
So you probably won't have to. I mean, you probably just get it now on MLB TV would be my guess.
Great, super. But I've got 3 TVs in the home that we watch baseball on. One of my TVs is not it's a smart TV, but I have to go get now a Fire Stick for it so that I can have the MLB TV app. I'm actually going to have to do that for 2 of the 3, I do believe. Go in, get a Fire Stick, plug that in, different remote, pop that in, pay. I'm still going to be paying for MLB TV, yeah?
I would think so.
And
yes.
now if I cancel, but if
you can cancel cable, you could save beaucoup bucks.
Right. But that's the thing is
and still get the Padres possibly.
I don't just use the cable for It's not like the TV's not on until baseball season starts. It is. So now, perfect. I mean,
it's going to be the kick in the ass you need to cut the cord.
Oh my God. For a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's the question.
Once you figure out the baseball, then you can figure out, I don't really watch a lot of this live stuff, but I can get Paramount Plus and watch Yellowstone.
There's going to need to be a massive and fast educational campaign for a lot of people. Baseball fans, there's a lot of them in their 70s and 80s out there.
Bro, I'm 47 and I'm lost already.
You're going to have
So-
grandkids who are going to be working overtime, setting up Padres baseball for their parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles.
And by grandkids, you mean DePaul Reindl over
Exactly,
there?
yes.
I already whip his ass daily. Like, hey, what time's that game? What channel is it on? How do I get it? Imagine me now, Paulie. Well,
Can't
it's
wait.
good news for those of you that have already cut the cord.
Possibly.
Yeah,
Saving
hopefully.
even more money.
Save you more money.
All right,
All
we'll
right.
come back with the Reindl Report, hour number 4 of Ben and Woods, right around the corner on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Getting a lot of responses to our discussion about Bally Sports, Padres on television. Josh said, hey, that article says baseball is going to be free in market if you live in San Diego. Out of market will continue to have to pay for MLB TV. My answer is nothing is really free other than Ben and Woods. This show is
that
free.
would seem like an out of this world upgrade if you are already like, so let's say you are paying for cable,
Yeah.
$200+ a month, but you don't have MLB TV. You're like, wait, so you're telling me because these guys went bankrupt, I can now cancel my cable
Yes.
and get Padres
and
games
get Padres
free
for free.
somehow?
Not $20 a month, not $150
Like winning
a
the
year.
lottery,
So
if that's the case.
I should technically then, if that's the case, cancel my cable
And MLB TV.
and MLB TV.
I mean, if
Unless
you
you
want,
want the out of
if you
market
want to
games.
watch,
The
other
Marlins.
teams'
I wanna watch
games, yeah,
Skip.
then keep
Yeah.
paying.
then you probably still need it. But I don't know that that's going to be true. I am skeptical.
That seems too good
I
to
see
be
the
true.
word free, and instantly I wonder, well, how am I actually paying for this? Maybe I'm not reaching in my pocket.
Well,
Maybe I'm not pulling out my credit card, but somewhere someone's getting me on a bill for something. Correct? That's how it almost always works. There are no free lunches.
There's no free rides.
You can tune into 97.3 The Fan for free and listen to every Padres game.
You can do that.
It's about the only
We
free
charge
ride.
you by putting commercials in between
Yeah.
the innings of the games and between the segments of this show, and hope
Correct.
that you will listen to them, although we don't chain you down and force you to do so. But otherwise, yes, free.
Huh.
That doesn't seem like a great business model for Major League Baseball. Not that I care that much, but
To give their product away.
to give their product away for everybody who doesn't buy a ticket for free. Maybe temporarily it's their only solution for now, but at some point that ain't going to fly. You mean you were used to be getting tens and millions of dollars a year in TV rights, but now we're just going to give it all away for free. What business does that?
Especially if
None.
you're MLB, like our partner screwed up and is going bankrupt, so we're just going to eat it and give it all away for free. That
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
It's another headache
still-
you got to worry about.
You know,
Ugh.
whatever it is, if it let's call it, I don't know, $20 a month for MLB TV to get the Padres.
Yeah, it's like 25, I think.
I mean, that's a net win.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be saving $225 essentially, which is a good deal. I could use an extra $225 in the old pocket. Don't tell the missus though, as far as she knows. But yeah, as soon as we get some clarity on this, I mean, it might be time to cut the cord for me, which is just the thought of it gives me massive. I've had cable since cable came out. Every time you move into a new apartment, I get my cable hooked up. Gotta get my cable hooked up. Gotta get my cable. There's something peaceful to me about sitting down, hitting guide, and scrolling up and down and going, "Oh, I didn't know that this was on. I'll watch that." Now you actually have to have in your mind what you want to watch, which for me, not easy. That's not an easy thing
The
to
shoe
do.
is on the other foot,
The
though.
shoe is on the other foot.
We laugh at people who refuse to modernize and refuse to accept innovations, but
I
then
really
all of a
don't.
sudden it's
I
you
really
one day.
don't. I
You're not
really
one of
don't.
those guys,
No.
but in this case, you might be.
I still think you can figure it out. I have faith in you. I mean, I don't know all of your TV habits. I know for me personally, the only thing I really watch live or need to watch live are sports. And outside of the Padres, it's not that hard. ESPN Plus, the CBS
Man,
Sports app.
I'll say it.
Plus,
Nobody
if you
else
really
will
want to
say
do
I'll
it,
say it.
get an antenna. They have good antennas now to get like the 10 channels that you need so that when the Super Bowl is on NBC, you'll still get it.
Digital is free. You can still watch ABC,
The
NBC.
Masters, the championship games and rounds will
Ooh.
all still be over the air, I think.
Golf channel. I watch a lot.
Golf Channel is one big for me. Now,
And
do
that'll
they
be
have a
gone.
streamer? I don't
I'm
know.
sure they
if
do.
They have a streamer you can buy or not.
I'll say it. Nobody else will say it. Streaming sucks sometimes. It sucks. It's dicey sometimes.
It's way better than it used to be, but yeah, it still
It's
can
still-
be.
it's sometimes
It can freeze. It can be behind.
Sometimes streaming a game sucks. Sometimes
You may need to
streaming-
upgrade your internet at home.
I
Pay more
can't.
for that.
I've gone the
That's the
highest.
best that
I've
you can
gone
do.
the highest that I can go, and it's still not that great. It's not that great. So listen,
You can invest in a Wi-Fi extender, perhaps. if you
that's
need.
a scam. Those don't work. I've had that before. It's
Yeah, they
BS.
do.
No. And Paulie, by the way, I wanted to bring
Mr.
this
I
up.
guess I'll
Woods
trust
here.
you. I'll
Yeah,
defer
trust
to
me on
Woods
this.
on all technological
By the way, I wanted
debates.
to. I wanted to bring
That's a
this up.
scam.
That's a scam. Extender. The guy that sells it's like he bought it. He bought the Oh, that little thing that sticks out of the wall? Yeah, buddy, it totally works.
just a
Your
piece of
Wi-Fi,
plastic.
your Wi-Fi's way better now. Trust me, it doesn't work at all. It's garbage.
I'll take your
maybe
word
maybe
for
they're
it
sponsored.
rather than
I
mine.
had a cell phone service. Verizon. I just said it. And where I lived, the service was. I could go to one spot in my yard and be like, Mom, are you okay? Is everything good? I'd move a foot.
Just for balance sake, I've had Verizon forever. I have the best service.
So
My old place,
anyone
my
I
old
have
place in
ever
La
had.
Mesa, I had T-Mobile. I had to literally get into my car and
go outside.
drive
Yes,
somewhere if
yes.
it was like an important, like
I
a
have
very
5G
important
full
phone call.
bars like wherever I go.
So at my house now, I have. When I lived in Linda Vista, I couldn't take a call in my house. My
Yeah.
phone would ring. I'm like, walking outside, walking down the street, and I called them and I would like scream at them, and I'm like, bro, my bill is like $200 a month or whatever, and he's like, all right, I'll send you this booster. I plugged the booster in, nothing. Nothing. Yesterday, you guys would be so proud of me.
It's not for a cell phone.
Yeah, that one was, but
Oh.
yeah, it's the same. The internet extender doesn't work, Paul. Come on, you're kind of a rube if you believe that, in my opinion.
Do you believe in power strips? Like
Yeah,
to
power
extend
strips
plugs?
work.
Those
Yes,
usually
extension
work.
cords.
an extension cord works. The internet booster. Come on, you guys are suckers, man. Yesterday, your old pal here went and got his oil changed. Do you know what I did for the first time ever? I said no. I said no.
They tried to
They
upsell
tried to
you.
upsell me on an
Nice.
$80 some flush. I go, you know what? I'm gonna wait on that. And the guy's face, he's like, damn it.
Yeah.
Because I saw my last report. Remember, I spent $350 getting an oil change. So I got out of there yesterday for a nice, cool 160.
Still not. Still, I think you can do better than that, Woods.
It was about to be 240.
You have like some sort of imported amazing vehicle.
Fritz says that EERO Wi-Fi extenders work wonders. I get foot coverage in my garage. That's creepy.
Full maybe coverage.
He gets foot coverage. Over 50 feet away from the
creams
router.
and lotions.
Creams and lotions. No, it just doesn't. They never. My wife is a big fan of those. We have them all over our home, but yet she complains incessantly that our internet sucks. So you tell me. And we only have in my neighborhood one option. You can't use other.
No.
You have one option.
That's
so
where you get screwed over.
that's where you
is
get
have
screwed.
The monopoly.
Yeah.
And
so you're like, all right, this is what we have. So I'll say it. Streaming games sucks sometimes. It's not good. It doesn't. It's not cable. Sometimes your cable goes out in a storm. I'll give you that, but that's once a year.
That's kind of
maybe.
exciting when that happens.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a bummer,
You're
but
like,
it-
my
ooh.
cable's out. I wonder when it'll boost back up. Streaming, you're like, and here's the bit.
The little circle starts rotating
And
around.
you're in
the
hell.
screen.
You're like, oh my god, what happened? It's just,
All right.
it's terrible.
There's no buffering at all in the Reindl report. Let's get to it.
Never.
And get things started here with
it's
our
actually a little bit of buffering. Right here.
today's edition
Oh,
of the
boy.
Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
Two stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And one story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right.
All right. The Rondo Report brought to you by the San Diego Sockers. The Lords of Indoor are on the march to the Ron Newman Cup playoffs. Get your tickets at sdsockers.com. Start off in Major League Baseball. Trevor Bauer has a new team, and it's not a Major League Baseball team. He is on his way to Japan. Signed a 1-year contract to play overseas. I would assume he's going to go over there and try to shove. And do you think a successful year on the field in Japan would ever change things for his future in Major League Baseball?
I don't. I think everybody knows that Trevor Bauer is a talented pitcher. I think everybody, that was never in question.
I think it does, and here's why.
Think you can get it back?
I don't think it's a matter, though, of him being able to strike out a bunch of Japanese hitters. I think it's a matter of him not doing anything controversial, staying out. If he can stay like out of the headlines for a year or two in Japan, and nothing crops up again, and things go quiet. I think it's his only chance to get back to the big leagues is to do this for a couple of years and, hope that time makes people forget a little bit about what went on. No one will ever totally forget about the details of his case.
Again,
but you go and you be a good citizen and you get glowing reviews from your manager and your teammates and this community where you live.
For those of you that are about to attack us, saying that he was found innocent in the court of law, he wasn't. Oh, well, that's because there wasn't enough evidence to charge him, Ben Woods and Paul. Whatever evidence there was, it was enough for Major League Baseball to impose one of the gnarliest suspensions in history.
The longest. Other than not like gambling, like Pete Rose lifetime ban.
Conversely, Mike Clevenger had charges brought against him. They looked at that evidence. They did not charge him with any sort of suspension at all. So
what's the difference in your mind?
It's a great question.
Well, I mean, do people think
evidence,
does Major League
obviously.
Baseball have it out for Trevor Bauer and not for Mike Clevenger?
I don't think so.
I would. I mean, there's a lot of similarities. They used to be teammates. They're friends, or at least were friends at some point. Why wouldn't MLB want to really come down on Mike Clevenger the way they did Trevor Bauer, unless they're just following the evidence that they have found?
And yeah, so but again, I caution people. It's so hard to prosecute those cases. It's like almost impossible. And that's what crushes me for those women, because it's so hard to prove. And you almost need video evidence these days to get that done.
I said there is a path back for Trevor Bauer. It involves a massive change in character, and admitting that he had problems, and I don't know that he's capable of doing that.
Very few narcissistic people are able to.
But to me, that's the only way he comes back. Like, I have massive therapy for my issues.
Yeah.
I've lived clean for how many years it takes him in Japan to get this opportunity to come back. Maybe in the future there might be that that chance.
I doubt
it's his only way.
I highly doubt it. But all right, he's off to Japan.
That's
all you know.
In the NBA, just an update on Ja Morant. He recently entered a counseling program in the state of Florida. There is still no timetable, though, on when a return to the NBA season will be.
Saw a guy tweet, well, what's he in counseling? And I thought to myself, well, yeah, okay, fine.
There's weird story.
Yeah, well, there's
a lot of layers to it.
The thing about Ja is there's a few weird stories that have cropped up over the years. So I think the underlying, for me, dime store psychiatrist that I am, is, hey man, as someone that is notorious self-sabotager, notorious, things are going great. What can I do in the past? What can I do to F this up?
Yeah.
What should I do? What kind of bender should I go on? What kind of arrest should I get?
His own words in a statement were that he's seeking assistance to get help and work on learning better methods of dealing with stress and my overall well-being.
Absolutely. And I applaud any human being alive that does that. Now,
I think there's also a misconception that you go into therapy to work on something specific, like, hey, I'm in therapy because I'm drinking or I'm using drugs or whatever. Sometimes you just need therapy to figure out what what the issues are. And I applaud anyone with enough self-awareness to go through the process and do that.
That's the thing, is like, as somebody that has a bit of a temper, gets a little flooded is a term that I learned last year or the year before. It gets a little flooded, sometimes for no reason. Just like it just becomes unbearable sometimes. And you're just like, I can feel myself losing it. Why? There was no trigger. Nobody spilled hot coffee on me. Nobody rear-ended me in the car. Like, I just am like, oh God, why am I getting angry right now? Nothing even happened. So that's kind of my issue. But with Ja, it's more like, hey man, life is really good. You're one of the best players in the game. You're certainly one of the most talented players in the game. You have a great career ahead of you. Why are you popping up on the radar for anything other than, hey, Ja put up 42 and 10 last night, right? Like, than just being a good, solid community citizen, making your money, giving back, playing hard for your team and your city. Why is there incidents with you and your crew, maybe pointing lasers at a bus, trying to start fights, punching a kid in the face, holding a gun up, doing an Instagram dance at a strip club. Like, why is that happening? You get to the root of that. Maybe he can turn his life around, man, which is what you hope for that kid.
Yeah. See, he was supposed to be suspended by the team just through tonight's game, but obviously it looks like it's going to be more than
as far as I know, he's not done anything that he can't come back from.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's
right.
made some mistakes, but hasn't murdered anyone.
I think it's just good. It's almost like preemptive. I mean, obviously things happened.
It's emptive,
but nothing crazy
it's not
happened.
post-emptive,
Nothing
though.
illegal happened.
Yeah.
Really.
No, it's emptive.
And it's just like, hey, we're trying to prevent
more
future issues.
It's
bigger
snowballing effect of
nip it in the bud.
Nip it in the bud, not the butt.
Finally,
nip it in the bud.
Got a hack here for anybody that's going on a flight anytime soon, and it's how you can be the only passenger in your row on a flight.
Bring Taylor Woods with you.
I mean, that's the dream, right?
Guaranteed.
I mean, that's a second passenger with you, though, if you bring a baby.
I'm talking you walk onto a plane, you sit down, and you're waiting. You're like, I got
not all the way
seats
across,
here.
right? Just on
just
your
your
side,
those three.
It's not, I mean, you're not getting the whole.
Why would you
row.
need the whole across the aisle? You're tall, though.
I am very tall.
Then just stretch.
But you can't really stretch across the aisle. You
cart would
impact the
bang
service.
into you,
Yeah,
yes.
it's not good.
Guys should.
I mean, this is obviously it's not a fully booked flight.
Well, yeah, clearly.
So
You beat the crap out of two guys and send them off.
it may
the plane, and then you have
very
to
well
row
be
yourself.
a full flight.
What? Okay, now I'm curious.
This guy shared his hack where he buys 3 fully refundable tickets in the same row for his flights,
Oh,
and
this
then
guy.
45 minutes before the flight cancels the other 2.
Now you don't get your money back, but you get a credit.
Fully refundable.
Fully refundable. Oh, so you don't even get a credit. You get your money back.
Find a flight that has the fully refundable option. Buy all 3 in a row. Cancel it 20, 30,
Now the
45
fully
minutes.
refundable is usually more expensive than the super saver fare that I tend to buy. Does anyone?
But if it
Does
who
anyone
cares
really-
how expensive it is, if
You
you're
get your
getting
money back.
Well, yeah, but the third one. So you
Okay.
buy one super
I
saver
mean, as long
and
as
then
it's
2
not
fully
like-
refundables, and you get your
Let's
money back
say-
on the fully refundables.
Okay, well,
Let's say it's
what is-
200 instead of 150.
What is
Like,
it
I'll pay
worth
the extra
to you
50
to
bucks.
have the whole row?
Yeah.
That's effing brilliant.
Now,
It's genius.
if I'm the airlines, I could easily restrict. You can only buy because you have to put your name, like legal, full, middle, last, first, middle on your flight, an
All right.
ID.
So I book
You can only buy one ticket for one person on a flight.
false. I could go today and buy a ticket from Stephen Woods, Ben Higgins, and Paul Reindl. Yes,
We all have tickets. And they're under
then
your
I,
card.
I call the airline and go, Ben Higgins has norovirus.
He's
Paul
canceling.
Reindl has
It's fully refundable. Give me my money
Paul
back.
Reindl has the
Now,
clout.
if they
He
sell those
cannot
tickets
fly.
in the last 45 minutes or like put someone else who got bumped from a flight on your flight, you're still out of luck.
I don't know
If they can fill it in the last 45 minutes.
I'm sure there are,
But-
he says it works 90% of the time.
90% is a good risk.
I think I'd take those chances.
You're right. This is
It's a
is
hack.
beating the system. This is a beating the system
Genius.
plan.
I love it.
Let us know if you've tried it. 833-288-0973. Have you heard of this?
Here's the other thing, though, too.
It seems so simple. I'm like, I never would have thought.
If you have
I
airline
use-
miles, you can get the miles for your purchase. And from my understanding, you don't have to give those miles back if you cancel your ticket, right?
Yeah, if you can't,
Points on
if
your
you get
credit
if you get refunded,
Points
though,
on your credit card.
I think once you're refunded, the points come
The
off.
points come
Yeah.
off.
See, now on the airline in which you don't have an assigned seat, you know which one I'm talking about, Southwest. If it's not a full flight, I will get in the row and look really big. Like I'm already big. I will
Stretch out
stretch out a little bit more. And I have had flights where
You
if
are
it's
a
not
monster.
full, people will avoid sitting next to me because who wants to sit next to the huge guy on the plane? And then at least maybe like the middle seat will be empty next to me.
You're a monster.
I'm not.
You
I'm really
puff yourself out.
I'm really big, like like one of those fish to intimidate predators.
It's better than a guy that used to work here that used to say he had leukemia, so he could get on first.
I don't think I'm doing
It's
anything
better than
wrong.
that.
I mean, I am big.
That's the lowest.
about as low as
I
it
just
is.
don't. I mean, if someone sits next to me, then I have to scrunch and make myself as small as possible and
Yeah.
lean against the window for 3 hours or wherever I'm along the flight. But until someone sits there, I will kind of just really elbows wide, legs
What a
kind of
jerk.
knees into the seat
jerk.
next to me to make it look
At least
as
with this hack,
unappealing.
you're paying extra.
Yeah,
as
you're
possible.
paying.
You're
No,
putting in the
not.
effort.
You're ripping off the airline with this hack, essentially.
It's true.
Why are we defending the airlines
I'm
here?
just saying there's always a victim somewhere.
Yes,
we are-
the triple billionaire airline companies are the victims.
We are a little overdue.
You
We're going to have to
monster.
take a timeout.
Yeah,
We're going to
way big
spin
timeout.
spin the topic wheel once when we come back. And then Sammy Levitt is going to join us from Padres Spring Training. So you definitely don't want to miss that. Stay tuned. Traffic, and then more Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. World Baseball Classic back underway. Nicaragua, Venezuela, first game, scoreless in the first inning. Of course, Padres are getting some of their players back. I hear Xander Bogaerts should be back for tomorrow night's game when the Padres resume after an off day after the Netherlands was eliminated. And Ha-Seong Kim should be back shortly as well after Korea was eliminated.
I'm sure they're both disappointed, but I am not disappointed. I'm happy to have my double play combo back. In Peoria, getting the reps, getting ready for the season.
Now, it looks like Juan Soto and Manny Machado may be away a little bit longer, depending on how the next couple of games go. We expected them to advance to the knockout round.
Yeah.
Either way, it'd be done by this time next week, right? When are the finals? End? The 21st? Is that the last day?
And
then, like Sundays, Monday. I don't even know.
The next rounds too are all Salem.
Elimination in Miami is, I believe, how it all wraps up.
Okay.
So.
All right. Yeah, just ready for everyone to get home safe.
All right. Well, Paulie looks this up. I'll remind you can check out Odyssey's Big Time Baseball podcast with our own Tony Gwynn Jr. and MLB insider John Heyman. They give you the inside scoop on what's happening around the league, from the field to the clubhouse and front office. New episodes of Big Time Baseball available on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. Any luck on the final day of the World Baseball Classic? I think it was the 21st is what.
Yeah, Tuesday the 21st
is what I heard.
PM.
Yu Darvish, he's a candidate to go all the way to the end, maybe even pitch the final game if Japan gets there, which would leave him maybe not even a time to start once for the Padres during the Cactus League. Could just go straight to opening day from the World Baseball Classic.
Yep.
Paulie, I promised one spin of the topic wheel.
Got to be quick.
Right,
so let's do one spin. I was thinking there's going to be one more tick.
Me too.
And it just never comes.
We've done this something similar in the past, but currently, right now, pick up your cell phone. What is your wallpaper on your phone?
You know what mine is.
Like it always is. The picture I took of the Grand Canyon.
Incredible.
Like
Still,
seven
haven't
years ago.
changed in a year.
Just my scenic shots.
Oh, God.
That I have always kept on there, and I never change.
We did a deep dive into
It's a real
the
picture,
psychology behind that.
the psychology behind a man.
It looks like wallpaper, like it could have been downloaded from something.
You have
But
a
I
wife,
took this
you have
shot.
two
so
children, you have
married man,
dogs.
2 kids, 2 dogs, golf fanatic.
You're always at cool sporting events.
Yes, you've met interesting players. You have a handshake with Fernando Tatis Jr.
And
Manny
you have a
Machado
picture of
touched
the
your
Grand
shoulder.
Canyon.
And he has
Because
noted
isn't it
desert aficionado and hiker Ben Higgins. That's the thing that kills
Wasn't it like
me. It's nothing that
you're
even
so
enjoy.
proud of it? Like you thought it could be like an Apple
Yes.
stock
National
wallpaper.
I feel like it should be part of someone's stock wallpaper screen footage, but I'm the only one with it.
We gotta
It's
post
like
ours.
unique.
Just post them. We'll post them at Ben and Woods. Yours has, and you never change it.
I never change it.
What's yours? Your dog?
Maybe
your
I
wife?
should change
Oh,
it.
yours is your wife.
Wife, girl.
Mine are mine.
Sorry.
Mine is my kid.
That's good.
Does it make my wife upset?
That she's not on there?
Well, hers is her dad. She's married with 2 kids, but she lost her dad. So her dad's really close. She likes to see his face. It makes sense to me. I don't take offense to it. What is Shelly's?
I don't know right now what
You
it is.
don't know?
I think she changes it more
She
often,
does.
yeah.
She's more of a changer.
Yeah.
What's Megan's?
Picture me.
See, they have no kids. That's just how you do. You're newlyweds.
Maybe I should take a
still.
picture of you guys and put it on
That
my
would be
screensaver.
amazing. The 3 of us. It would be Channel 10. It'd be him with the Channel 10 mic.
Him, Kimberly
Me and
Hines.
Kimberly. Me and Wale and Kimberly would be a good one for sure.
SOB.
All right.
We'll post ours.
It's an off day for the Padres, but we are going to talk with Sammy Spring Training.
Old Bensel Adams over here dude, with that picture. It's such a
Bensel
stock
Adams.
photo, dude. Take a screenshot
God.
of
Put it up on the. Just put it up. Hold it up to the camera.
Take a screenshot of it. Send it to Paul since you can't post it on Ben and Woods.
You're unbelievable.
You're unreal. Will you change it?
Yes, I will change
Okay.
it. I will commit to changing it to something. We'll talk with Sammy Spring Training, see what happened yesterday, and then Sammy's off until Thursday morning, basically, or at least tomorrow night when the Padres play again. But for us, we'll give them a couple days off. But we will check in with Sammy coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, after being shamed, I have just posted my at least temporary selection for my new wallpaper on Twitter.
Now change your camera.
Now change my camera?
Your webcam.
Oh, sorry.
Cannot see you.
Come back over to me. Thank
That's
you.
better.
There I am.
You should send your photo though into National
Geographic. Yeah, I think they could use a nice shot of the Grand Canyon.
That's a lot of money on that.
It's one of the least photographed national monuments we have, I believe.
Man, how did you get up there for that shot?
Got out of the car for like 4 seconds.
Behind a chain.
They've got like drones with the best cameras in the world available to them.
Like,
And
so cool.
Ben's like, hey, what about this one?
There it is. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Visit 5hourenergy.com. Remember college? 5 Hour Energy got you through. The energized feeling you relied on back then still works. Rediscover 5 Hour Energy. It'll get you through again. Visit 5hourenergy.com.
Before we get to Sammy Spring Training, our show started about 5 years ago in a couple of weeks. You've had that since we started together. So that would have been 2017?
Yeah.
Okay. Or 18, 17? Wait, 23 minus 5.
2018.
18.
We started.
When did you've never gone, you haven't been to the Grand Canyon since?
No.
When was that picture snapped?
Yeah, it was around 2015, 16, a road trip to Colorado.
So
we
had that
drove through the Grand Canyon. Yeah. And
How long after you took it did you set it?
Probably within a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I really liked that shot. I was very proud of it.
7 years that thing's been on there.
Yeah. Inertia too.
How do you feel now that it's not?
It's weird to see something else. I just feel like it's not my phone. It's like I'm going to pick up the phone and go, oh, someone
that's
else's
not me.
phone. But I know if I see my dog, Shalane.
Yes.
She's a handful.
Who you don't really like all that.
Not that much. We have a complicated relationship, that's for sure.
Nope, not that much.
She woke me up at 1:30 in the morning asking to be let out. Not last night, but the night before. It was a total head fake. I went downstairs to let her out. She got to the door, turned around, sprinted up, and jumped into my spot in bed.
Oh, you got deked.
I got deked.
Yeah.
I got totally deked in the middle of the night. I'm sound asleep, and I get deked out of my spot in bed.
She's
out of her crate.
She's such a rapscallion that you have to love her.
Sometimes,
Right.
yeah.
She's a pretty girl.
She can be.
She's very pretty.
When she wants to be.
Yeah.
She also has a snaggle tooth and can be just the most annoying, frustrating, evil dog.
Now that is a
in the
good
world.
wallpaper, Ben.
It is a good wallpaper.
Yeah,
cute
it's a good
dog.
shot.
It's really cute.
All right, let's check traffic with
Snaggletooth.
Kelly, and then we'll come back with Sammy Spring Training here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Premier Kia of Carlsbad. Guys, that northbound side of the 805 has been up to no good this morning. Now we got a crash just past Market Street. Fortunately, not blocking any lane. It's over the right shoulder, but you might see some spectators flowing through that area. Also, some defective traffic signals causing a bit of confusion on the Genesee Avenue off-ramp northbound 5. Looks like they are on flash, so just proceed with caution there. With a huge selection of new Kias in stock, they're sure to have the Kia of your dreams. They're right off the 5 freeway in the heart of Carlsbad. Shop online at premierkiaofcarlsbad.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
First day this guy has had off in 3.5 weeks. And what does he do? But he joins us on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. It is the dedicated Sammy Spring Training.
Hey, buddy.
It is a big day around here. They're cleaning the hotel room. I get it cleaned every 2 weeks. I went down to the front desk this morning and made sure before you know what it was before I threw the towels on the floor, so I get a fresh set of towels.
Yeah.
I went downstairs and made sure that the room was getting clean because it's been 2 weeks since I've arrived. 4 weeks since I've arrived. They cleaned it on the 2 week mark, and then I was expecting the next 2 week mark. And indeed, it is scheduled to get cleaned today. New towels, fresh bedding, We are living large. here in
I
Peoria.
remember a day and time when they would clean the hotel room every single day.
Every single day, you'd leave. There was no bigger beating.
Mints on the pillows.
There was no bigger.
I think they still offer that, but you have to ask for it. They'll ask you when you check in, like, how often would you like your room cleaned? And they kind of almost phrase it where, like, you're a jerk if you're like, every day.
Yeah, no. They make you feel guilty if you want to. Yeah.
Remember leaving for the day to go do something and then coming back at like, I don't know, 3, 4 o'clock, and your room was still messy? You're like
so disappointed. They also make you feel guilty if you don't reuse your towels. It's so unenvironmentally friendly. It's like, I reuse my towels at home way more than I probably should. Like 7 showers worth of reusing the towels.
Save that topic for tomorrow because that's an interesting
But
one.
then I when I'm on vacation, is it a crime that I would like a new towel tomorrow? Please,
Sammy,
thank you.
Now, Sammy, question for you, and I think I know the answer for Ben. Do you tip the cleaning staff at the hotel?
Yes, I normally do. Like when I would travel in the minor leagues, where we stayed at a lot of hotels.
Oh yeah.
You know, like and you would switch around. Yeah, for sure.
Really,
I mean,
5-star establishments, I'm sure. The Fairmont, the Ritz Carlton. Not really.
The AA hotels were pretty good. I told you guys this story the first time I ever talked to you. I told you a story from the Frontier League independent ball about a hotel with the indoor water park and the whole place being really steamy. Yeah, I mean that was like one story from there. But I always leave money in the hotel room. I will do that here as well. You know, and by the way, Paul made a good point. You do have an option to get the hotel room cleaned every day, but that is a fee. So, you know, I would not
Adam told you definitely not.
Said
We
every
already
2
know
weeks
that.
is fine, Samuel. Ben?
So I like to leave like a 10 spot on the first day.
Ooh,
and
that's
then
slick.
And then I may forget the second and third day before I check out.
That's fine,
To make sure they know, you know, hey, this
Treat
guy
me
tipped
right.
early. Tip early
Yeah,
rather than at the end.
Let me ask you guys a question, because that's an interesting idea. Admittedly, I did not leave anything the first cleaning 2 weeks ago, but because I'm not checking out today and I'm going to be here still a couple more weeks, could it possibly, like, if I would leave something today, but is it possible it would be confusing because they wouldn't know if you just kind of left it out by accident?
Yep.
Or
always
big
on
tip
the
at the end.
pillow. On the bed
on
is where you put
on
it.
the desk in front of the
Oh
TV.
no, always on the pillow.
No,
is where I always put the
I always
tip.
put mine right in front of the TV.
Oh no, I thought you were supposed to put it on the actual pillow,
That's a
like
good
where you
idea.
put your head.
People always
That's
put it
like-
on the bed.
No
somewhere.
one would.
do you?
No
I've never
one
put it
would
on the
put
bed.
money on a pillow unless it had to be for housekeeping.
I'd like one big tip at the end, Sammy. At the end of your stay, drop like, I don't know, like $40 or something. That'd be pretty good. You've been there 6 weeks
I
or
think
something.
I think the end of
It's
the
not-
stay is the way to go.
I mean, if they only cleaned the room twice in the 6 weeks you were there, I don't think it deserved $40.
Fair. All right, let's talk some baseball
Yeah,
before
let's-
people start losing their minds. What do you got for us, Sammy? Nothing, because there's nothing going on.
Well, yesterday there was stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the quick on yesterday with the game. I mean, look, obviously it wasn't the greatest outing for Tehran. Honeywell gave up some runs, but also struck out 7 guys in 4 innings. So, you know, you could go either way with that one.
Honey,
Tim
not so
Hill
well.
had a rougher out. Yeah, I mean, Tim Hill had a rougher outing, but I'm, you know, like you guys said earlier, I'm not super concerned about him. I will say this, and I was just thinking about this, and I literally wrote down the names because when I tuned into you guys this morning, I heard you talking about the pitching depth.
Yep.
You know, and look, there's been I don't think there's concern there personally for me, just because I'll tell you why in a second, but just like, you know, yes, Morahone has the elbow issue now, the MRI tomorrow. Who knows? I hope the news is good, but you just never know with these things. And obviously for a guy that's had issues before, not what you want to hear is elbow and MRI. And then, you know, it's amazing. I'll tell you what, Joe Musgrove, he threw another bullpen yesterday and looked good to me. I mean, you know, was talking about his pitch grips, and Bob Melvin continues to just marvel at what he continues to do. It still sounds like it's pretty unlikely that he won't at least miss one turn through the rotation, but if that's the worst case scenario at this point, I mean, that's pretty good. He's been really, really coming along and coming back from the fractured toe. He is going back to San Diego. I'm not totally sure of the timeline on when this is happening and when I'll come back to Peoria to do biometric testing. And then I would imagine after that, we may have really a timeline of when he will return. And also, look, he's got to build up. I mean, he has been pitching in games. I mean, so it may be a little bit, even though it's great, he's working towards it, there may be a kind of a realistic time frame to build them up, and depending on how the Padres want to go with it and when they want to get him back into the rotation. Finally, here's where I don't have a ton of concern, like about the pitching depth, right? Here are 14 pitchers, and this is including Musgrove, right? And the Padres can carry 13 on the opening day roster. Here are 14 options, if you will, for those spots, including Joe. Crismatt, Darvish, Garcia. I'm putting Groom in there. Hader, Hill, Lugo, Martinez, Musgrove, Pomerantz. Again, I'm putting him in there. Snell, Suarez, Waka, and Wilson. So even in a situation where Musgrove and Pomerantz are not on the opening day roster, which is certainly a possibility for both, I mean, that means you have the 12 other guys, that includes Groom, and then one more that you're putting in there from one of the options that we've talked about over the course of the last few weeks. I mean, look, you don't want more injuries to happen, anything like that, but it's a pretty good group. Top to bottom.
It's a good point. And it's one guy who, if you're pitching well and playing well, you might not even use that last guy in your bullpen over the first week of the season.
Exactly. And if Pomerantz is in that group and somebody like a Musgrove is not available to start the year, well, there's your 13 right there with Jay Groom. Look, to me, and we talked about it a lot, at this point, just based on the results and what we're hearing, it would seem to me like Jay Groom is a front runner to make this team, whether that is in a sixth-man spot in place of Musgrove to start the year or a long man out of the bullpen. Bob Melvin was asked about it yesterday after the game, if Padres, have really decided, like, if Joe is not on the roster to begin the year, what way will they go? Will they use a 5-man? Will they use a 6-man? It sounds like they may not really have a definitive answer on that until they really know what the timeline is like for Joe, right? Because it's a big difference if he's going to miss a couple of weeks versus a couple of days to start the year. So I think that's going to be a decision they make as we get towards opening day. And I mean, that's in a couple of weeks now. But again, just from the depth perspective, going back to your conversation on that, just because I heard it this morning, look, I think they're in really good shape. And you're right. The one spot that may be available, depending on the situation, is a guy that, you may see once over the course of a week and a half, 2 weeks. So I still think they're in a very good position pitching wise. I mean, look, the starting rotation, having guys like Martinez and Lugo, have to pitch full seasons, things like that. These are all, things that are going to have to get answered over the course of the year. But overall, from just a personnel standpoint, I think you have to feel very good. I know that was a very long answer, but
it's exactly what we were looking
kind of
for.
Ramble there.
Sammy, that's exactly what we wanted at the end of the show. I mean, that's literally what we were all nodding
You've
along.
carried us pretty much to the final 2 minutes, which is all we needed.
Last question for me. What is your wallpaper on your phone? What is your lock screen?
It is a photo of me and my grandma.
Oh,
that's sweet.
God, now I feel.
What's your grandma's name?
Well, she's passed away. Well, all my grandparents are gone.
Well,
But her name.
Could you not
Her name
glean
is
that?
Lily.
Huh?
Could you not glean that?
No, it's all good. It's all good. Lily Levitt. Lillian Levitt.
Lily, and what did you call her? Grandma?
Lily.
Oh,
Grandma Lily.
Grandma Lily.
Sam's
That's
gonna
very
go
sweet.
cry now on his off day. Thanks a lot, Ben.
Sorry about your grandma, Sam. Thanks for sharing that information.
It was a few years ago now. It is all good. I just say it's a very nice photo of us, and my lock screen. Yeah,
It's very
great.
sweet. Sorry about Ben.
Oh my goodness! Stop.
Thanks,
Don't
Sam.
end the show like that.
Go enjoy
You're
your
all
off
good.
day.
Enjoy
We
your
will
off
talk to
day.
you in 2 days henceforward.
Get some PF
Xander
Changs in ya.
Bogaerts possibly back. Ha-Sung Kim possibly back. And we'll talk to you on Thursday.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
There he is. Sammy Spring Training.
Love him.
and Grandma Lily
Jesus,
on our
Brad.
Premier
Man,
Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline from the great beyond. Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad.
Oh my God.
He's like, "Oh, your grandma died? Too bad. So sad," is what you said last week when somebody died. Too bad. So sad.
No.
Who was it that died?
Yeah, that,
I said that's too bad. That's
so sad. No, you didn't say the second that.
That's a total.
You
there's
go,
a
"Oh,
total-
that's too bad. So sad." God, you're a
God.
monster. True monster. Oh, your grandma passed away. Too
Save
bad.
money the right way
So
with Premier
sad.
Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them
Bye-bye.
today
God.
in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Have you ever played a golf tournament with a monster? You can at the Bentonwoods Open, taking place Thursday, April 6th at Rancho Bernardo Inn. Slots in the tournament go on sale next Wednesday. That's a week from tomorrow, March 22nd. Thank you to our sponsors, Travis
What are we
Matthew,
gonna do with
Daily
this guy?
Engineering, and Sombreros Mexican Food, providing some breakfast burritos for all of our participants.
Lord.
And so concludes the Tuesday edition of Ben and Woods.
Too bad. So sad.
All right, we will be back
Bye-bye.
tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. More WBC talk, one day closer to the NCAA tournament. For Paul Reindl, for Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Coach coming up next. Stick around right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, the home of the Padres. 97.3 The Fan.